Hello, GDQ viewers. Welcome on this fine Sunday afternoon or morning, depending on where you are, or evening. It's possible. There are lots of time zones. Welcome to PB Precipice, a show on the GDQ Hot Fix. If you're new, if you haven't seen Hot Fix before, we'll get into it. Basically, it's a bunch of cool programming on the GDQ channel. Today on PB Precipice, we will have Dragon Blitz showing off Castlevania Symphony of the Night 200.6%. We'll get into what all that means in just a second, but I have some quick announcements for us gamers. First of all, if you are watching on YouTube, go to twitch.tv/gamesdonequick if you're interested in looking at our live content starting most nights at 7 p.m. Eastern. And Awesome Games Done Quick 2022 online is over. Sad, I know, but Hotfix is year-round. Go to gamesdonequick.com/hotfix for more info. DB, how are you doing?
I'm doing great. Thank you so much, Adef. How are you?
I'm chilling, man. I'm on the Pacific time zone myself. So I woke up, got in the chair, here I am.
Nice, nice.
So DB, you've been running Castlevania Symphony of the Night for a very long time. So I'm curious, first of all, can you tell me a little bit about your history with the game? Just like, what got you into this one and what's kept you around?
Oh man, Symphony of the Night is a childhood favorite of mine. I grew up playing this game on the original PlayStation, had a lot of fun playing as a kid, getting lost, not knowing how to beat the game, and just having fun, doing the normal casual stuff.
Sure.
Find out about speedrunning through Games Done Quick back in like 2012 or something like that. And found Rom Scout, who is an absolute legend at this game, had
Yes.
the world record for like over a decade in like every category possible. And I just wanted to learn how to speedrun the game at first because I thought it'd be like a fun little thing. And the game just always has more to it. The skill ceiling is like near infinite in this game, I swear. So every time I think I'm done, there's always a new discovery or a new glitch or just some new movement, or I look back at my PB and I'm like, you know what? I'm actually better than that right now. I could probably beat this. So I've just not stopped. I picked up the game in 2013 and basically just haven't stopped wanting to get better.
Amazing. So you just mentioned new time saves, and I know you hinted a little bit before we got started here that there is something fresh. So could you tell us a little bit about the music?
So this is a new discovery as of like less than a week ago, a little over a week ago. We finally did some testing using the Xbox 360 version of the game, which is the fastest version for speedrunning this game. It is possible to enter the Xbox menu, and it has a live media player inside the menu. And if you play music in the Xbox menu, entering the game, it'll mute the in-game music. Not only does it mute the in-game music, it actually just doesn't check to run the music at all in-game. So I guess by freeing up those resources, it ends up saving time every time you open a menu. And the best way to estimate it is it's about 7 frames saved every time I open a menu. It's a little bit more, a little bit less because menus are actually pseudo-random how long they actually take to open. But on average, it's 7 frames time save. So over the course of like a short run, like any percent, it saves a little under a second. But during like a full speed run, like 200.6, where we're opening the menu multiple times, it's probably closer to about like 3 to 4 seconds time saved. I actually haven't done the math yet, but probably somewhere around there.
So, and we love those little time saves where we can take them. So gamers, during the stream, there will be no game music, but we have the Soten soundtrack looping. So you will still get to listen to the Soten OST, which is an excellent soundtrack. So that'll still be playing under. So no worries there. It might not match the area that DB is in per se, but you still be able to hear it. Thank you to our wonderful tech team. Thank you, Ray. So Dragon Blitz, my final question is, what is 200.6%?
Yes. So this category is a category where the goal of the game is to collect all of the map in game. The percentage in game is determined by how much map you collect. So I'm going to be collecting every single map tile in the game, except for the out of bounds map tiles, because it is very easy to go out of bounds in this game if you know what you're doing, and you can collect a lot of map that way. So this category bans the use of out of bounds, specifically to collect map tiles. There is like some places where it'll look like I'm going out of bounds, but trust me, I'm not actually collecting the map while out of bounds. I've done a lot of testing to make sure that that doesn't happen. But yeah, there's also an in-game achievement on the Xbox version that'll pop up once I've collected all of the map tiles. So the run is going to look a lot like just me running around, going to specific spots in the castle to collect the map. And then at the very end, an achievement should pop up, and then we just finish the final boss at that point, and that's time.
Excellent. Well, I say we tarry no further. Dragon Blitz, whenever you are ready, give us a nice little countdown, and we'll get the show on the road. Gamers in the chat, let's get some emotes to show our love and support, of course. And good luck, have fun.
All right, ready for the countdown in 3, 2, 1, go.
GLHF.
Yeah. There is a trick at the very start that may cause a reset or two, but after that, it's pretty much smooth sailing for the first like half of the run, I would say. There aren't like major reset points outside of just like messing up movement and stuff that might cause me to no longer be able to PB.
So I guess I should also mention really quick while Dragon Blitz fights the first boss here. This is PB Precipice. If you've never been around, this is one of the shows I run here on GDQ. And the idea is we're showing off speedrun attempts as they usually are. Like, what does a real speedrun stream look like? So Dragon Blitz is going to do pure PB attempts, no safe strats, and he can reset if he wants to. Literally as many times as he would like. And so, that is the exciting portion of PB Precipice. And you can see Dragon Blitz's PB is actually displayed as the estimate for the run under the words 200.6%. So 119.28 is the time to beat.
Yeah, the first part of most speedruns of this game is the death skip after fighting the prologue section. Without getting too into like how the prologue works, there's a lot of like little secrets involved with the prologue where you get a lot of extra items and stats and stuff depending on how well you did the prologue. One of the items you can get is a neutron bomb, which is like a full screen attack. And I'm going to be using that to set up a level up in a specific spot, which if done correctly will allow me to skip a screen length forward. And that screen that I want to skip is the cutscene with Death, where he takes away my overpowered gear. There we go, I got it. It's a 2-frame window to get that trick. You can use the map to buffer it when doing world record attempts and stuff like that. I just don't. It's pretty consistent with a 2-frame window. And a lot of the time, if I just don't get it, I just reset. So you're getting the authentic experience here. If this was like a marathon run, I would definitely buffer it. And first thing after that is getting the Cube of Zoe. This is a relic that lets me get like candles will now spawn items when I break them open. That's important because that'll allow me to get sub weapons later. And yeah, with 200.6, I'm going to be doing a lot of extra movement to collect some early map tiles. That this movement you probably wouldn't see otherwise in any other category because there's no reason to, like, for example, break open this little secret floor because there's nothing down here. I'm literally just getting the map tiles and leaving. Same with this one here.
Okay, so I'm also listening to the soundtrack. And my God, like, I just forget sometimes how every song is a slapper, dude.
Yeah, it's all good. It's probably the saddest part about the time save is that the OST is muted, but again, there's workarounds. We just play it in the background anyways, like we're doing here. One of the other important things about doing a speedrun like this is I have to intentionally not kill enemies, like those two right there, because if I kill them, I will get a level up, and it is more efficient to stack the amount of level ups you get on like bosses, because you can get multiple level ups using the same exact animation of just one level up. So, for example, once I kill this next boss coming up, I'm going to get like 3 level ups or something like that. It's better than getting them individually because it pauses the screen and doesn't let you progress forward for a little while. I also got what's known as the double kill, where you kill them both on the same frame, both Slogger and Gaibon, which also sets up your experience such that you'll, if I kill the right enemies in the right order, I'll skip an extra level up animation. And each level up animation is about 3 seconds, so small little optimizations there. Oh, I need to get up there. There we go. There's a map tile up there that is needed. It doesn't lose too much time because there is kind of a global cycle for this room where that spit bone just kind of like fell through. You can't, if you go too fast, like you have to wait for him anyway. So I didn't end up losing that much time for missing those jumps, but.
So, gamers, if you are just tuning in, a couple of things. First of all, again, this is GQ Hotfix, and this is PB Precipice, a show on the Hotfix that happens every other Sunday, hosted by me, ADEF. And the goal of the show is to just show off PB attempts for somebody who's really close to getting a PB. And currently we have Dragon Blitz playing Castlevania Symphony of the Night, and he's playing 200.6%, which is basically the map completion category. And so that is what we have on display. And DB can reset if he would like at any point, and just show us, what he's got.
Yeah, so far there's nothing too reset heavy about the early part of the game. Overall, it's a lot of very general movement. I guess to explain what I'm doing, like most of the time is this backdash cancel known as shield dashing. So there's a backdash movement option in this game, and I'm just canceling it over and over again with the shield. So optimally, it would be like you press backdash for 1 frame and then shield for 1 frame, and then you do that over and over and over again. But since most humans can't mash at 30 hertz, you just kind of go as fast as you can without messing up the input. There's many ways you can mess up the input that actually ends up being slower than just normal backdashing. So there's this little push and pull as to how fast you can go before you like start stuttering and like standing still and losing time. Oops, I almost forgot. That is a map tile that I've forgotten many, many a times.
Well, you don't want to forget it live.
Yeah. Oh no! We're fine. Everything's fine. I didn't want to have to bring this up. I am using a backup controller because my main controller broke, and yeah, the issue with this backup controller is sometimes it'll just think that it's disconnected even though it's not, and that little menu will pop up, which will lose time. If that happens a lot, I will cry. But it literally broke on me yesterday, so that's why I'm using this backup controller. One of the most inopportune moments for it to break.
When you say broke, what does that pertain?
The cord that was used to like. Just the cord like ripped open, basically. It was a very old controller. The only reason I was using it is because all of my other controllers are also broken in small, silly little ways. It had some exposed like bits of the wire that just eventually caused it to like tear itself open over time just from like wrapping up the controller too many times or something like that. Xbox controllers, Xbox 360 controllers, they're basically all old. They're no longer in production anymore. So any Xbox 360 controller that you buy is either going to be a new in-box controller that is too expensive because they're no longer in production, or a used one with dubious quality.
Dragon Bliss is going to get world record with a Mad Catz controller.
I mean, one of my world records was on this controller, and I had that disconnect screen pop up during one of them for the AVR SR category, which is a similar category to this. Honestly, there are various like levels of completion in this game. This being pretty much the highest level completion without getting to like max level and like leveling up all your familiars and collecting every like rare item in the game and stuff like that. But this is pretty close to like I would consider the, because there's no like true 100% category for this game. It doesn't really make sense to quantify a 100% because you could always just say, well, oh, you could get a higher level or something like that. It's very silly. And then the only percentage that's counted in game is the map percentage. So that's kind of why this category exists.
I liked the 360 controller. There's some debate in the chat as to whether people liked it or not. I was a fan.
I think it is very good for this game in particular. It's one of the reasons why I recommend people, if they can, play on the 360 version. It also is the fastest version for speedrunning this game. But I also think the controller just works really, really well for it. The original PlayStation version, fun fact, because a lot of people don't remember, came out in 1997. The first analog controller for the PlayStation came out in 1998. So there are no analog controls. And analog controls are actually really useful for this game. They ended up putting them in for the 360 version, which is one of the reasons why it controls, I think, a little bit better. Because there are certain like motion inputs you have to do in order to do a movement technique that I'll show off in like a little bit. And being able to do those motion inputs with an analog controller is much nicer than using a PlayStation D-pad.
Is Xbox Live Arcade still up? Can you still get this game?
Yes, you can. It's also backwards compatible on Xbox One and Xbox Series S and X. That is not my split. Some categories I split there, some I don't. Oh, come on. No, please. It wasn't doing this at all yesterday and with my warm-up. And as soon as we go live on GDQ, the controller says, now's my time to unplug itself.
It's the controller's moment to shine.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a reset. Okay, I'm resetting that. That book jump is really stupid. If you've ever tried to speedrun this game, your first time really getting caught up anywhere is definitely going to be that book jump. One of the things also, this category being longer, it is not 100% optimized, as you might realize. There's lots of room for improvement. This category also is new. Like, nobody really was running this until I decided to, like, basically reroute the entire category and come up with, a whole route from scratch. It took me a couple months. So, when was the first time I ran this game, or this category? I'm resetting that. A few months ago, like 6 or 7 months ago. So it's also a newer category overall. There were people that did runs of 200.6% in the past, but they used completely different routes. Like, I think the record before I started running it was like a little over 2 hours or something like that. So I was able to save a lot of time by using newer glitches that have been discovered since then, and also just routing out things a little bit differently.
Yes, gamers, it is well within Dragon Blitz's right, nay, dare I say, it is his destiny to reset on this show. So the whole point of PB Precipice is showing off real PB attempts. So Dragon Blitz is not, skirting any corners or anything. He's going to be going for the full thing here.
I don't know. I've heard some people say that resets are cheating. I've heard people say practice is cheating as well. So
that is literally unbelievable. Are these YouTube comments?
Yes.
Okay, well then we can disregard them.
Unless you're watching this right now on YouTube, you're allowed to comment. I'll read that one and take it very seriously.
And you should subscribe to Dragon Blitz on YouTube.
I do upload Soten content daily, so if you want to check out more Soten stuff, whether it be speedruns, randomizer, discussions about new glitches. Like, I made a new video discussing the time save from the paused music and stuff like that. All sorts of different Soten Castlevania related stuff every single day on youtube.com/DragonBlitz. Go for it.
This man is on the grind.
A little bit, I would say.
Is it spelled the same as your Twitch handle?
Yes. It should bring up the right URL. It's technically youtube.com/C/DragonBlitz1. The original Dragon Blitz was held by a different YouTube channel that did Roblox content and has since deleted their channel. So it reroutes to mine automatically, which is really nice.
Nice.
They just couldn't handle the responsibility of being the original Dragon Blitz on YouTube. So I understand. It's a lot of responsibility.
Also, if you are watching on YouTube right now, you can go in the description and DB's Twitch page will be there as well. But if you're on Twitch right now watching live, which is very exciting, you can look for the link. I'll be posting it intermittently throughout the day in the Twitch chat, and you should just follow. That's just, that's your duty. My homework for the PB Precipice viewers is follow DB on Twitch.
Yeah, if you like Soten, if you like Castlevania stuff, I do be streaming quite often. And I would love to see you in chat. Say hello sometime.
DB, I gotta read this comment in chat to you.
Go for it.
Playing Soten is cheating.
Yes, you're not wrong. If you are one of the, I would say, interesting people that believe that using glitches at all in speedruns is cheating, one of my biggest counter arguments is that it is near impossible to play through Castlevania Symphony of the Night without finding some sort of glitch that was not intended by the developers just through casual play alone. So just playing Soten, if you are one of those people, is pretty much cheating because you're probably going to do a glitch at some point. So, I mean, I can't argue with like logic like that.
It's just big brain logic.
Yeah. No double kill. I'm losing 3 seconds. Unfortunate, but it is fine. We will continue onward. This is still within world record-able pace. I did forget a map tile at the start of the game, but that is fine because it is one of the map tiles that, one, I figured out that I forgot it, which is nice, so I won't forget it later. And two, it doesn't lose any time to get it later. Nice, that's the good pattern that I want to see. Get a damage boost off that Axe Knight. You might notice that I'm not like checking my map to see if I've gotten those map tiles. I've practiced the exact movement that you need to get specific map tiles a lot. But if you have ever tried to get every single map tile in this game casually, you will know there are some map tiles that are absolutely like insane. Like they don't make any sense as far as like how you're supposed to get them normally. I do have strategies to try and get them quickly, but there's a decent chance that like, for example, in the reverse caverns, there's just some map tiles that are very, very, very finicky. It might look like you're in the exact position you need to be, and it still won't give you the map tile. So in those scenarios, I will be opening the map to double check. For example, my world record time does open the map like probably like 20 or so times to double check some spots. And there was even one map tile that I had to go back for, which lost me a little bit of time. So there's still plenty of room for improvement in this category, but it's also incredibly difficult to make those improvements because any small mistake could be the end of the run. For example, I've done dozens and dozens of attempts. I don't think I have the accurate attempt counter showing right now, but I've only ever finished, I think, 4 runs because I would get to the very end of the run and I wouldn't get the achievement because I forgot a map tile like an hour and a half ago or whatever the heck, and the run would not be valid, even though I did everything else correct. So it's a very difficult to complete category in that sense, unless you have very particular awareness as to whether or not you've missed a map tile. It's one of the reasons why this category is so intense overall. I have to be focusing all the time. I hate you, controller. Please work. Thank you. You have to be very focused a lot of the time to make sure that you know exactly if you've gotten to the exact position you need to get a map tile or not. So a lot of the map tiles, however, you kind of just get them for what I say, you get them for free because you just doing normal speedrun movement through the area will give you the map tiles that you need. And then some of them will require very specific movement. Once we get the Soul of Bat, which is the main form of movement after the beginning part of the run, I'll be able to show off a lot more of like this particular types of movement you need to do to get like map tiles. It can look silly if you've never seen the speedrun before, but yeah, the beginning part of this run and the beginning part of pretty much every single Symphony of the Night speedrun all revolves around getting to the Bat Relic as fast as possible because it is just so overpowered. It gives you access to a spell known as Wing Smashing. If you Wing Smash, you are fully invincible. You are moving basically the fastest speed that you can get access to outside of very specific setups. And you have, with access to like late game items like mana prisms and infinite mana prisms, which we will get at some point, and I'll explain that later. You can do infinite amounts of Wing Smashing, which is really overpowered. The way that it's supposed to be balanced is that it costs MP to use, so you shouldn't have infinite uses of the Wing Smash, but using a glitch, we can like circumvent that. This is a neat little section where moving as the wolf is actually faster than moving as Alucard. They have a very similar top speed between shield dashing and like dashing as the wolf. The wolf just maintains momentum in air while running, where Alucard does not. So if you're in a section with a lot of like odd terrain where you need to jump a lot, it can be faster to use the wolf a lot of the time. And we're also going to be using the wolf right here to gain enough height to get into this next section by dive kicking off of a candle. The game just lets you dive kick if you transform into any of the transformations of this game, when normally it's intended that you get like the double jump ability before coming up here, which we do not have.
So could you explain a little bit about like the bat relic specifically? You know, I've seen this speedrun many times, and I understand based on watching the bat relic move around that it opens up a lot of potential for skips. Is that like, has it always been that way, or has the bat sort of evolved in usage over time?
I will say, as long as I've been speedrunning this game, and pretty much since the start of speedrunning, like wing smashing is an intended mechanic. People have been using it for basically the start of speedrunning this game to go fast. And it's just the quickest and most useful relic overall to acquire to go fast. Because if you want to put some numbers behind it, backdashing is, like, on average, the shield dashing that I'm doing is about 3 pixels per frame speed-wise. And then the bat's wing smash is double that. It's 6 pixels per frame. So you're basically going double the speed. And on top of that, you have access to wing smashing in multiple directions. You can angle your wing smash upwards or downwards. So you can just cover large spaces, large gaps very quickly. Where otherwise, as Alucard, you would have to like jump over gaps and stuff like that. So it just makes going from point A to point B a lot faster. And that's also where the majority of like the skill expression in this game is how well you were able to control the bat, because it does require a lot of skill to do so. There we go. That's what the book jump's supposed to look like. There we go. The whole reason we do this is to get the fairy card to set up that glitch I was talking about earlier with the infinite mana prisms. So what's happening here is I'm going to have the fairy come in and she's going to speak to me, and we're going to overlap the fairy's dialogue with the shopkeeper's dialogue.
Your word.
Oh, also the music plays here because it's not being played off of the CD audio. It's being played in-game using the in-game synths. So this might sound a little weird on stream. Sorry about that.
I'm interested in.
Nice achievement. There.
Farewell for now.
So yeah, what we did there is we just sold a crap ton of garnets. It's intended to get the duplicator that you like farm a bunch of money in order to afford it. But by overlapping the dialogue of the fairy and the shopkeeper at the same time, it allows you to open a menu that you're not normally supposed to be able to open during that section. And by doing so, we can underflow the amount of garnets that we have by selling a garnet as we equip it. So it'll try and sell the garnet that we no longer have in our inventory, which will underflow it, therefore giving us a bunch of garnets. And then, you know, we sell all of them, get a bunch of money, and make out like bandits. There's also another big skip coming up. This one is pretty tough. It is like 2 or 3 frame perfect-ish inputs in a row. It's like 1 or 2 frames. We're going to be using the map to help buffer those inputs to try and clip into the floor here. I was 1 frame off. There we go. Second try is not too bad. Especially in a category like this that's so long. One of the nice things about doing this clip is it allows us to leave the library faster than we would be able to otherwise, and we're also collecting all the map along the way in those lower areas. Because getting the map is quite slow to like go all the way around and then go through those rooms and then turn around and come back. It's much better to be able to efficiently just fly through there once, and doing that floor clip allows us to do that, which is nice. Yeah, this is like one of the bigger time saves of the reroute is by doing that floor clip. This is like the first big open room with a lot of map to collect in it. So this is probably gonna be the first spot where I'm gonna be checking my map to make sure I got the map tiles that I needed. And this is the wing smash being shown off at its, all its power. It's very nice to be able to sweep left and right through these areas to collect the map quickly. Otherwise, it'd be much slower to just do it normally by like, shield dashing or whatever. So this room's basically like a giant square. So I'm trying to, I don't have enough MP. I'm gonna fall out. Please make it, no. That's really annoying. So mana prisms will refill my MP to full, but if I run out of MP before being able to use another mana prism, it'll force me out of the bat transformation and it's really slow. Seems like I have a bad MP roll. So in this game, your stats are pseudo-random. Every time you gain a level up, how is that a Dark Metamorphosis game? That is insane. Every single time, oh my goodness, this is going fantastic. Okay. 1, 2, 3. There's just a lot going on. I'm just gonna focus in on this section. There's a little gear puzzle that you have to do to get some extra map. I'm gonna see what my splits say after this next split, and that'll determine whether or not I want to reset, because I feel like we're a decent chunk behind. But it's hard to tell. Splits for this category are pretty tough because you're basically non-stop moving the entire time. So finding like a spot that's like safe to like take my hand off the controller and actually input a split is tough. Grab those map tiles and now leave, please. That's just bad RNG from that enemy. Getting a level up there isn't the worst thing in the world. Usually you want to stack your level ups on top of bosses, but in a category this long, it's near impossible to do that.
I gotta say, like, I feel like I'm being more quiet than usual just because I'm mesmerized by the bat movement.
Yeah, the bat movement in this game is really sick overall. Every time you see me enter the bat while it's like has the blue trails falling behind me, I'm doing a very particular input. It requires you to hold the jump button, then do a 3/4 circle motion on the controller, starting from up going to back, down to forward. And you have to do that within a 63 frame window to chain them infinitely. Otherwise, you will drop out of the input. And every time you do that input, it costs 8 MP. So the big skill ceiling of this game is being able to time your wing smashes properly. So that way you don't fall out of the spell, as well as manage the amount of MP you have while doing so. Because if you lose all of your MP, you can't wing smash anymore until you untransform and then use another mana prism, which a lot of the time ends up being slower. If you're not in bat form, you can't be wing smashing, and you basically want to be wing smashing as much as possible. There's also momentum manipulation with the bat. You see I'm doing this dive kick into the transformation to start transforming into the bat while moving. That ends up being a lot faster if you're in like a long hallway situation where you just want to move across very quickly. Here comes one of my favorite rooms, I say ironically, because I hate this room. The map tiles here are very finicky as well. You're going to hear me say that a lot. Honestly, the map in this game is very silly sometimes. There we go. Boss fights are also incredibly easy in this category because I'm using this not unintended, it's unintended for me to have this combo so early on, but the Alucard shield is the best shield in the game when used alongside the shield rod, which is an item that we got in the Coliseum. It gives me this spell that makes me fully invincible while I'm doing maximum amount of damage to enemies, and it heals me while I do it, so it's very overpowered.
Just a little OP.
Yeah, make sure I get those map tiles for sure. Okay, we're good. Missed could pass. There we go. Did I seriously forget to buy the Jewel of Open? I did. Wow, that's run over. Nice. That is a silly way to lose a run. I've done that before in other categories. Oh my goodness, my controller, it was not acting like, if you watch my streams the last 2 days, I've been using this controller, hasn't once acted up like this, and now it's being absolutely horrible. That is hilarious.
GLHF on the next attempt.
Yeah, we got this.
So again, gamers, that was a reset. So this, if you're just tuning in, as I see some people are filing in, this is PB Precipice. So the central conceit of the show is that DB can reset as many times as he would like. The goal here is simply to PB. That's it. We will usually finish off the show with a full no reset run, no matter what. But DB still has plenty of time here to reset as he sees fit. Because after all, the goal is to get and see just then, DB's feeling like, okay, well, we're early enough. It's a mistake. Let's just go ahead and run it back.
So getting past this part of the run is kind of RNG. So every time you see me use the Hydro Storm where it starts raining and then I'm throwing a holy water on the ground at the same time, nobody really understands why it happens like this, but essentially you have a chance to do what is known as a damage stack. It's a glitch that causes the damage to just be insane versus Dracula. And if you get good damage stacks like that, he melts very, very fast. And I want to get good damage stacks, at least decent ones, so I can start the run off on a good note. Like right there, those damage stacks were absolutely abysmal. He had more than half of his health left. And then trying to kill him without any extra DPS, without like Hydro Storms and stuff like that, is just not worth it. That loses me like 5 to 10 seconds or something like that, depending on how the fight goes afterwards. So we're just hoping to get good enough luck to get past this section to start the run off. Yeah, his first phase has much less health, so if you don't get a damage stack there, it doesn't matter nearly as much. It's the second phase that you want the damage stacks to show up. There we go. Yeah, his health just like melts. If you get there, the level of damage stacks that you get are also random. So sometimes you'll get a damage stack where it ticks down slightly faster, and other times it'll just, oh my goodness, I'm going to cry. I'm resetting over my controller.
Actually, something we could do real quick, DB. We could take our first break now.
Yeah, I'll see
just
if I can
briefly, and then we'll see if we can figure out the controller. Excellent. Okay, gamers, do not go anywhere. We will be right back in just a moment. We're going to take a little wellness break here. Get up, stretch your legs, get some water, and DB's going to work on the controller here. And we'll be back with more Castlevania Symphony of the Night, 200.6%, more Dragon Blitz, and more PB Precipice right after this. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Games Done Quick Hotfix. My name is Adef, and we are here with PB Precipice, the show all about real PB attempts and real resets by real runners. Maybe that's our new tagline. Who knows? And we're joined by Dragon Blitz playing Castlevania Symphony of the Night, 200.6%. We'll get back into what all that means in just a second, but a few quick announcements. Unapologetically Black and Fast submissions are now open. In this new recurring Hotfix marathon, Black runners are front and center in a celebration of Black joy. This first iteration is running February 12th and 13th for 12 hours a day. Submissions will be open until January 23rd, 2022. Schedule to be released, that's today. Scheduled to be released February 1st. Type !UBAF for the link to the submission form. And all revenue after taxes that GDQ earns from subscriptions and bits for the month of January will be donated to the Prevent Cancer Foundation. We reached 3.4 million at AGDQ 2022. Let's see if we can get to 3.5. And with that, DB, I'm going to throw it over to you.
All right, if you are ready to resume the timer, if it paused, I have no clue. Anyways, 3, 2, 1, go. Let's get back into it.
Good luck.
I think the controller is done having a meltdown now. It was just being a little attention seeking. That's fine. It was on the big stage and got nervous. But I think we've worked out our differences and it should be working out just fine. Like I said, the last 2 days, this controller was working just fine. And then today, just, worst possible timing. It's a very weird controller issue too. I've opened it up multiple times. There's no loose wires. There's nothing like visibly wrong with it. It just will randomly disconnect. And it's really unfortunate because the way that disconnects get read in Soten is it'll stop the game and be like, whoa, buddy, your controller got unplugged. You should go fix that. It's if it just reconnected as fast as possible, it would probably just count like a few dropped inputs and wouldn't be that big of a deal. But the fact that it pauses the game for like 3 whole seconds is really annoying. But whatever.
Yes, I did not mean to say that. I did not mean to imply that today was in fact February 1 and we skipped 8 or 9 days. I meant to imply that today's the last day of submissions for said marathon, and the schedule will come out on February 1st. But yes, Dragonblitz, would you mind re-explaining for the gamers what 200.6% is?
Yes, the in-game percentage is counted based off of how much of the map you have completed. You complete map tiles by just walking through the castle, and you just passively will gain the map tiles for those areas. So the goal of this category is to see every location in the game and collect all the map. Without going out of bounds, of course. By going out of bounds, you can collect like, I think it's up to over 400% or something like that. It's crazy. But the intended in-game max percentage is 200.6. Also, anything over 200%, you get a new ending for the game, which is very underwhelming if you ever went out of your way to try and get it casually. It changes like 2 lines of dialogue at the very end of the game, which is funny.
Also, I guess I should mention again that a new skip, or not skip's not really the right word, a new time save was found in Symphony of the Night recently where turning the in-game music off actually saves time every time you open the pause menu. And so, or the inventory. So DB has the music off, so our lovely tech is playing the Symphony of the Night soundtrack on loop. And so the sounds might not exactly match up with the areas that DB is in, but we have music nonetheless. So please enjoy.
Yeah, the first time we were testing it, I did a stream where I just turned the music off, didn't have any other music playing in the background, and it was quite awkward. But yeah, that's a very, very recent time save, like less than a week ago, or about a week ago, I want to say. I forget the exact date that we finalized the frame counts that we needed to figure it out. We also learned a little bit about how the menu works in this game. As it turns out, it's kind of random how much time it takes for the menu to actually be actionable after you open it. Oh, I was not supposed to kill that guy. Whatever, it's a little bit of time loss. I think
Chad is yelling about a save room.
It's fine. I can get it later. That one, I'm pretty sure, is actually faster to get later. But I like getting it early so I don't forget. But I've stored it in memory. Don't worry. And I always check nowadays.
Backseating is bad. Backseating is bad.
Oh, I had good strength. That's crazy. Oh, it's because I got the level up. That's why. Yeah, that changes how that fight is supposed to go. Did I forget that? That's fine too. I'll remember that later. In fact, I'm just gonna reset. Screw it. We can get a better run. I'll get the room. Will that make you guys happy?
Don't humor them. You do whatever you want.
They were kind of right. I should probably get it early. I just didn't want to reward their backseating behavior. It doesn't make too much of a difference, but I think it just ends up working out better if I get it early. But it's one of those things where there hasn't been like a ton of A/B testing or frame counting for every possible strat for this category because it is so long and it is still so new. This is a category that really hasn't been ran seriously in like over a decade until I kind of picked the category back up and rerouted it like from scratch, pretty much. So yeah, there's a lot of strats that are kind of like, I don't know, this kind of feels fast, so I'll do it. And then there are other strats where I do know, like I've done the testing for stuff that is a little bit more ambiguous. For the most part, it's pretty clear. Like we have a good idea as a community as to what kinds of movement is faster than others. Like in general, you want to be wing smashing a lot because wing smashing is faster than other forms of movement. But when you want to get down to like the nitty gritty, like this saves, you know, a 1/10 of a second here, 1/10 of a second here. That kind of stuff has yet to be done for like every single room in the game, you know?
Little do you know, in the year 2025, this will be the most run category of any game.
I would be so happy. So it's one of those games where we've just recently started to see a little bit of a resurgence of new runners, which is amazing. because it's been kind of dormant, I would say, in the last like 4-ish years. So seeing a lot of new runners is great. We have so many resources too. If you are interested in trying to learn how to speedrun this game, there's tons of resources for all sorts of different categories, different systems, regardless of how you want to play the game, on what system. We probably have a guide somewhere out there for you to just get you started. The easiest category, by the way, if you want to get started, is either any percent, or if you're already very familiar with like playing this game casually, maybe the glitchless category. So just a quick shout out there. If you want to get into speedrunning this game, speedrun.com/soten/guides is the place to look.
I have a little whisper from, I've got connections, and I've got a little whisper in my ear that the 2024 Summer Olympics will actually include 200.6%. So that's pretty exciting, really big moment for speedrunning.
I must have missed my invite to that in the mail. I'll have to double check, because obviously there's no way they wouldn't invite me, right?
Well, there's going to be time trials. There will be Olympic time trials.
Oh, there it is, yeah.
You gotta earn your spot.
Also, fun fact, if you look on the current speedrun.com page, this is considered a category extension, and it is currently empty. Do not fret. I have PB'd in this at least once before. It just takes a very long time to verify runs of this category, because it is a very long run in general. And yeah, it just hasn't been verified yet. It's fine. It's legit, I promise.
It's legit, I promise. Believe me, please. I do love the, sometimes when I watch the Olympics, I'm like, really? They've got cross-country skiers from Australia? I love the idea that people learn how to do a specific sport just because the country doesn't have a participant for that sport. So I would love if there was Soten 200.6% in the Olympics. Every country besides America, Japan, and a few countries in Europe are scrambling to find Soten participants.
If I had to bet on who's taking the gold, my money would be on Brazil.
Brazil, really? Wow.
Brazilians, in fact, the Brazilian speedrunning scene for this game is a very long, historic scene. Shout outs to all the Brazilian runners out there. They, I wish I knew specific names, but there's just been so many people that have developed glitches and strategies and stuff for this game that come from Brazil. So shout outs to you guys.
Personally, I can't wait to see the Icelandic speedrunning team,
Wait.
There we go. Those flea men are very scary, as you could probably imagine. Flea men in most Castlevania games are very RNG heavy enemies. They have very unpredictable random patterns. And I do have a massive sword, by the way. This Alucard sword that I've been swinging around is super strong, and the hitbox is insane. I've seen it with the with a Lua script hitbox viewer, and it is absolutely massive. It's almost nearly as big behind Alucard as it is big in front of him. So it does make getting through that room more consistent with those flea men, but they could still sneak in and attack every once in a while.
All right, I don't typically shout out puns and dumb jokes, but this one's really good. They've found a Brazilian glitches in Soten. That's good. Nice work. You've earned 10 ADF points today.
How many ADF points to redeem? What's the
You get
exchange rate?
for 100 ADF points, you can redeem it at the front counter for one of those sticky hands, where you throw it and it sticks to the wall.
And they're ruined within an afternoon.
Yes.
Completely unusable. Yeah, that seems about fair.
How do they keep them good and behind the counter, and then the second you own it, it is miserable?
I imagine they're sealed in some sort of packaging, right? Maybe.
It's a cryo chamber for sticky hands.
To preserve them, to make sure that they're at peak condition.
Precious material. I feel like every time I got one of those, they either ran out for sure, or I lost it within 10 minutes by sticking it to the ceiling of a very tall room. And then,
It's well, I'm not getting that back.
Yeah, I am a measly 5 feet tall at this point in my life. I could not possibly retrieve that.
Okay. We're on pretty decent pace, I would say. Oh, we got the floor clip. Let's go. That's a frame perfect floor clip that saves like 2 seconds. That floor clip, I forget exactly why it works. Something to do with re-entering the room and you just like fall fast enough to clip through the floor for like a frame. And the failsafe for this game, if you are in any sort of geometry, is it pushes you downwards to try and get you back in bounds. So you can end up clipping just through surfaces and stuff like that. It's one of the reasons why when I was doing the floor clip in the library, the reason why we stayed at the bottom of the screen is because the game is pushing me downwards to try and get me back in bounds. Which is kind of a strange direction when you think about it. You'd think that they would want to push you up, but I guess it's to prevent like floor clips getting you in areas you're not supposed to get to by like getting height earlier than expected. I don't know. This game is very, very strange the more you look into it, like why certain things are the way that they are. Oh, nice. We got the table jump. That saves like 2 seconds. Oh my god, this is actually really good pace.
I love when names for like small movement or tricks in speedrunning are like, oh, table jump, save 2 seconds.
There we go. Yeah, the fastest possible time to get to that clock room is 8 minutes. Due to the way that the in-game timer works for this game, is there's a statue that blocks your path there, and it opens up every other minute. And the fastest cycle any human has ever gotten is a sub 8 minute cycle. So if I get there in about 8 minutes, I'm on very good pace for this category. In other categories, it's very trivial to get there in under 8 minutes. But because we have to do extra map collection early on, it becomes difficult to get there in under 8 minutes. It's much harder to do so. So the time saves actually start to add up and matter. This is known as the clock rush. And it's really important for like every category of the game. I've made a YouTube video about like a whole video essay explaining it. It's like 20 minutes long. It's a very strange way for the speedrun to be focused around, especially for the any percent category that's only 16 minutes long, and 8 minutes of that is the clock rush. So over half of the speedrun, you can't actually save time, or about half of the speedrun itself. You can't really save time during that section, so it becomes a very optimized category because it's, instead of it being a 16-minute category where you can save time everywhere, it's actually a 16-minute category, but you can only save time for like 9 of those minutes.
That is fascinating.
Yep.
Could you re-explain for everybody the shield dashing?
Oh, sure. There's a backdash movement in this game. I'm going to shut up for like 2 seconds while I try and get this jump. There we go. All right. So yeah, every time I'm backdashing, I'm canceling the backdash by pressing the shield button. And then I'm just doing that again and again and again and again. And it looks a lot like mashing, I guess. It kind of looks like I'm mashing the controller. But I'm doing it in a specific rhythm such that it allows me to maintain my backdash momentum the entire time. Because if you do it in the wrong way, you actually lose all of your momentum and you stand still and you look like an idiot.
Your word.
Well, we don't want that.
Yeah.
I'm interested in this.
So one of the general misconceptions about shield dashing in this game is that you just want to mash as fast as possible, but it more so is about the technique that you use than the actual mashing itself. There we go. Just need that. There we go. Yeah, those menus are pretty involved with the stuff that you need for them. I remembered to get the Jewel of Open this time. That's where you're supposed to buy it. And I remembered. So we will not lose the run in the same spot that we did last time. There we go. This little wolf movement, if done perfectly, saves like 3 seconds or something like that, and also depends on RNG from that. Where is my... Oh, that is the silliest way I've ever lost a run. Wow. I forgot to equip the duplicator, and I lost my mana prism. There's no salvaging that. You only get one, and the duplicator allows you to have infinite uses of that one mana prism. But if you use the mana prism, it's gone forever. I would have to like turn around and go buy another one, and that's like a very big time loss. at that point. Not worth continuing.
Gamers, if you are enjoying what you're seeing and you like the Soten speedrunning, there is Soten content all the time over on twitch.tv/DragonBlitz, DR4GNBlitz. Be sure to follow.
Yeah, I'd love to see you in chat. Say hi sometime. While we do world record attempts, randomizer speedruns, all sorts of fun stuff on the channel. Soten related and Castlevania related in general. No fire 1520. I did not forget that save room. I was going to go back for it later. Backseat gamer.
Backseat gaming. Dragon Blitz, for what it's worth, we're about an hour in.
All right.
So probably like one more reset at about 10 minutes in or so, and then you'll have to show off a no reset for the gamers.
Sounds good. Yeah, this category is quite brutal overall, I will say. Like I said earlier, I've done dozens of attempts and really have only finished, I think, 4 total. Each time I finish a run, though, it's pretty much always been a PB. So as long as I finish a run, there's a good chance at PBs because the overall execution of this run, I would say, it's a weird type of execution where it's not necessarily hard. I'm not necessarily doing things that are harder than other categories. The hard part is that if you forget any part of the route, because it is a very involved route compared to the shorter categories that this game is more known for. If you forget anything, a single map tile, a single menu out of place, the run is basically ruined. But the actual execution is about average, I would say. Maybe a little bit harder. There's like more frame perfect tricks, but I mean, if you're playing Soten, there's just frame perfect tricks. They just exist. But we have map buffering to make them not nearly as difficult.
Why is it that you take damage to that enemy?
He just starts barking faster, and I need him to bark at me so he can be in the right position so the neutron bomb will hit. And I have nothing better to do there because I have to wait for the bark anyways. There's another method of getting that level up that requires you to do a spell instead of using the neutron bomb. And that has the potential to save like 1 second. But it requires the spell version, which is, instead of being a 2-frame window, it's a 1-frame window to get that skip. And the spell is a spell where you shoot out a bunch of little orbs and they attack the enemy. And the way that they function is the AI of the orbs is very finicky. So I just don't want to deal with it. It's much more consistent to do this other method that only loses 1 second. This guy. Get rid of him. If you get hit by the poison spit that those little, they're called spittle bones. If you get hit by it, the run is basically over. Being poisoned is such a terrible stat debuff in this game. It like lowers all of your stats to like under half or something like that. And you no longer regen MP while you're poisoned as well. It's a very debilitating debuff. So you want to avoid getting poisoned if you can. There we go. We got the double kill. You know if you've gotten the double kill because the animation, the little hit spark will be the same animation on both of those bosses at the same time. So like I said earlier, getting the double kill just saves a level up animation. Sorry, I just want to finish that. Go for it.
No worries. When you're doing like certain attempts on an average day, what is your sort of go-to category?
It just depends on what I'm working on at the moment. 200.6 is a category that I was very, and still am, motivated to lower. My main arbitrary time goal was under an hour and 20 minutes, and I hit that relatively quickly. So I have to reevaluate what my new goal is now for this category. There are other categories that all could be optimized slowly, especially the main leaderboard categories. I need to kill that guy. There we go. So it just depends on what I'm motivated to do at the moment. And recently, I've been motivated for both 200.6 and for any percent. Those two in particular, which are like the shortest and longest categories. Any percent is in an interesting spot because with the new time save from the music being turned off, pretty much every single category can now get like some free time save from that because it's such a new discovery. But I think it would be the most impactful in any percent because any percent is already so close to what I would consider a human limit in that category. The sum of best of all of the top runners started to converge on this number. And it's also a very interesting number because in game, at the very end of the game, Dracula quotes a Bible scripture, Matthew 16:26, and the sum of best of all of those runners was converging on 16 minutes and 26 seconds.
What?
So the prophecy is that the perfect world record will be a 16-minute and 26-second time. So that is the big goal that I have for myself to try and achieve at some point this year. We'll see how doable it is. My sum of best is a little bit lower. It's a 16:24, so I have some room for improvement, or some wiggle room, I mean, to not have to get an absolutely perfect run, but dang near close to it. And this extra 1 second time save from the music being off is another cushion to help make it more doable. But that is pretty much like, I would consider that a perfect run if I got a 16:26. There are other possible time saves that could make the sum of best even lower, but they are so incredibly either RNG dependent or difficult that nobody has ever done a run with them. Those are ways of getting that clock cycle that I was talking about earlier. The fastest human that's ever performed a clock cycle was under 8 minutes. Getting one under 7 minutes would save a big chunk of time, but nobody has been able to do it ever. Either you would have to execute like task level perfect for 7 minutes straight, or there's also a random item that can allow you to do a completely different route, but it's a 1 in 4,000 chance of dropping. So I've only ever seen one in my entire near 10 years of speedrunning this game, and it was while I was doing a tutorial for all bosses. So I wasn't even in the middle of a run. So that was like my once in a lifetime luck right there for that drop.
And then you're like, okay, tutorial's changing.
I was doing it on a completely, I couldn't salvage it into a speed run, unfortunately. I think from everybody that's ever been speedrunning the game, I think only 3 runners total have ever seen one drop in like the past 15 years. So it's an incredibly rare item that allows you to damage boost up into the area right here. Instead of doing a dive kick with the wolf, you would just damage boost up here. But again, it's so incredibly rare that like nobody has ever done a run with it. If you watch tool-assisted speedruns of this game, they all use the toadstool skip is what it's called. It's a very silly skip. That's another thing that I go over in my Clock Rush like video essay that explains like literally all of the very minute details about the clock, because it is quite an in-depth system, specifically when it comes to speedrunning this game. It's just such a throwaway like design element. They're like, oh, wouldn't it be cool if this statue opened and closed every other minute? And then the entire like first start of the speedrun is like designed around it. The whole first half of the speedrun is like, well, we can't save time because of the cycle, or if we try and save time, it'll be near impossible.
YouTube channel is youtube.com/dragonblitz with a 4 for the A if you're interested. There's lots of cool video essays and long-form Soten content there.
Yep, and new videos every single day. So
You're a madman for that.
it is it is a grind for sure. Once you get into the rhythm of it, it's not too bad. It's not too bad. All right.
My man has to come up with a thumbnail face every day.
The real strat is you just use the same face for every single video. That's the real
Ludwig
strat.
That's the Ludwig strat, baby.
He stole that from Mr. Beast, dude. Mr. Beast's been doing that for years. He uses the same 3 faces for every video. There we go. Good book jump. The books are a pain in the butt because they have their hitboxes like move into the 3rd dimension. This game is fully 3D, by the way, even though it looks like it's 2D. The entire engine is a 3D engine. It's the same engine that's used to actually make Metal Gear Solid, fun fact. But it's being projected onto basically like a 2D screen. But the 3D assets are still 3D, like fully 3D. So sometimes the hitboxes just won't interact the way that you think they will.
I'm interested in this.
So you'll try and dive kick off the book and you'll trade damage. So you'll hit the book and the book will hit you, but because you got hit, it just flies you, and it's not a good time. I don't know how I didn't equip the duplicator last time. That was crazy. Very silly mistake, but...
So if you miss an area, you know, how hard is that to fix?
It is potential minutes of time loss to get back to that area. If it's somewhere close by, it's not the end of the world, but it just depends on how quickly I could route it into my current route. So if I miss something near the start of the game, that's an area that we revisit later. So it's not the end of the world to just try and route it in. But if it's somewhere that's like deep in like the catacombs, for example, we only go there once. So if I miss it there, getting back there is going to be like a minute-long detour, if not more. So it all just depends. Also, this is known as Badu card. I can't really explain that too much, but it saves a quarter of a second and is really cool.
Also, for what it's worth, I think probably we'll just take this run to the end if that's all right with you.
That sounds good with me. Worst case scenario is I do the majority of the run and it's not a valid run because I missed like 1 or 2 map tiles. That's very common. Goodness, 1 frame off both times. You love to see it. The way that, how did that not work? Hello? There we go. The way that map buffering works is that you have to buffer it in real time. So you have to unpress the map and then repress it within 1 frame if you want to move forward in-game by 1 frame. So it's not like Ocarina of Time, for example, where you got like 10 years for the menu to disappear and then come back and for you to advance 1 frame. It's much more physically demanding to map buffer and to advance by 1 frame at a time. A lot of the times you end up doing accidental 2-frame advancements, and yeah, it takes a lot of practice to get good at 1 frame map buffering. I need to not forget this map. Speaking of map, that one would have been a pain to go back for.
Yes, DB said that he commonly misses splits in this category just because it's rather dynamic.
The splits are mostly for you guys. I know where I'm going, and I pretty much can figure out how much I am ahead or behind just by guessing a lot of the time, and I'm quite close to accurate. It's also to help me remember certain, like you can see there's little notes next to the splits sometimes. That's just to remember certain aspects of the run. Come on, there we go. Oh no, that's bad. All right, I'm gonna have to refill MP here. This is a backup strat. So when you're in bat form, you can't like force yourself to refill MP. Like you can't use mana prisms at all. So sometimes, oh, I just got an MP refill glitch. That is a fun little glitch. That is one of the reasons why the glitchless category allows for glitches, because you cannot control that. And it would be very silly to have that glitch happen to you in a glitchless run and then just be forced to reset through no fault of your own. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10, 11, 12, 13. Each one of these cogs needs to be hit a certain number of times. That one's 3. And it opens up a little secret area. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. This needs to be done in this version of the castle and the inverted castle. I missed one? Hello? Oh, I think I know which one I missed. That's very sad. It was you, wasn't it? Yep. They give a different sound effect once they are clicked in, like the right amount. There it is. It's one of those secrets that I don't expect anybody to ever figure out without some sort of like guide or something like that. This game has a lot of those.
There is something funny about this.
Oh, I got the glitch that's so rare. Let's go. Nice.
What?
It warped me like a full screen length forward. It's very similar to the glitch that we did to skip death, except there's no setup for it. It just kind of can happen to you. It's very silly. The reason that happens is because this room is actually misaligned from the actual sprite of the room, like the background images. In game, it's like aligned differently. I need to be one. There we go. And that can cause you. There's a lot of side effects of the reason for that. It's difficult to explain. There's a lot of side effects of the fact that the room is misaligned, and it causes little glitches like that to happen. I could force one to happen. It's frame perfect, but I can try and show it off here. Right here, for example, the screen transition, if I backdash while going through it within one frame, like that, you just skip the screen forward. Like, it's very, very silly. Oh, come on. There we go. Need to actually hit with the shield there. I'm probably behind for sure right now, but there is about 2-ish minutes of time save at the very end of the run, so I am pretty much still on pace to potentially PB here. There we go.
Favorite track? Favorite track in the game, DB?
Recently it's been Wandering Ghost. It kind of rotates. There's a lot of amazing tracks in this game. Wandering Ghost, which is the track that plays in the Coliseum. Rainbow Cemetery is another great one. That's the one that plays in the Catacombs. And then there's one more that I was literally talking about today that is not coming to mind. But if it comes to me, I'll say it. I also said Lost Painting is slightly overrated. Which is probably going to make a lot of people mad because that's most everybody's favorite track in the game. It's a good track, don't get me wrong, but number one, I don't know. There's better tracks. It's very unique. Yeah, it's very unique, don't get me wrong. There's nothing that really sounds like it, and I can understand why people like it for that. But as far as like the musicality of the song, it's okay. That crow gave me the business. It's fine. Most everything is salvageable, movement-wise. That's one of the things I like about this category is there's a lot of improv movement that you can do in this game that doesn't really get shown off too much in the other categories because they are so optimized and the routes themselves are so particular that you do a specific strategy in a specific room and you never really stray from that. Where in this category, there's a lot more room for improvisation, and this particular game has a really good engine to allow you to move in various different ways, and they're all very comparable in speed. It's one of the reasons why I've started to really enjoy this category the more I optimize it and the more I learn about it, is like some of the individual like recoveries from not doing the absolute optimal strat 100% of the time ends up being more fun to me in that aspect. If you see me pull up the map, also flashing screen warning for about like 3 seconds. I'll tell you when we're good. So close your eyes if you were sensitive to that. We are good. You can open your eyes now. There are certain glitches that cause flashing screens like that. I will always give people a heads up in case something like that is about to happen. I do the same thing on my stream, by the way, just as a heads up, because this game is very silly. I think I can get away with doing that, right? Yeah. This is one of those rooms that has like some improv to it. You don't have access to all of the movement options at this point that you would really want. We get access to better movement options later, known as the gravity boots, which lets me cover vertical distances a lot more efficiently. It just is unfortunate that the gravity boots are very far out of your way at this point, so we don't really get a chance to see them right at this moment. So I have to come up with more unique movement options, like maneuvering the bat mid-air in ways that seem kind of awkward, but end up being optimal for this point in the run. Let's see how far behind we are. I'm guessing it's going to be like close to a little over 45 seconds, which, like I said, there's like 2 minutes of time save later on, so it's not the end of the world to be this far behind. A run like this is just like a roller coaster of like time save, time loss, time save, time loss.
All right, so I also have the soundtrack on for myself. Marble Gallery slaps.
Marble Gallery is really good too. I did a music tier list like over a year ago, and I think that one's in the A tier for me.
A very rightful placement.
Looks like my map is good. I don't think I've missed anything too important early on. There's a few things I'll double check when I get there. But yeah, the map is quite large. So just by taking a quick glance at it, sometimes it is very difficult to assure yourself whether you actually got the map tiles you wanted or not. So usually I only check the map in areas that I'm actually in, because there's this little dot that'll flash where I am, and it makes it very easy to like dart my eyes in that direction and like double check like, oh, did I actually get that or not? Here we're revisiting the Coliseum because there's little secrets that we have to do here that we didn't get to the first time we were here. Like this breakable like ceiling entrance. And then there's a bunch of other rooms as well. And it's just more efficient to do this later once we have access to the bat, because the bat just goes so much faster than Alucard ever could. This is where the category gets very, oh, that's not the end of the world. Losing the stopwatch is a very silly time save, or sorry, time loss. We need the stopwatch for exactly one room, well, two rooms, one in each castle in the game. And losing it loses me like 40 seconds. It's very silly because the closest stopwatch is pretty far from here. That was just like a unfortunate scenario where I got to the axe to show up in my inventory. And that should be there. Yep. All right. This is another really cool room to get all the map tiles in. This is a staircase room. The map tiles are very particular. You have to get way up in these corners. Could you mind? Or do you mind? That guy was rude. So this is some of the more satisfying movement that comes with this category. And that is all those map tiles taken care of. There we go. Yeah, trying to get those map tiles like fast is, I spent 10, probably like a few hours routing that particular room to find something that felt fast and efficient. I'm grabbing these extra relics, mostly just because I can. They don't really do much, and they're kind of annoying to skip, so a lot of the time I end up just grabbing them. They're not necessary for the completion part of the category. I just like getting them. Yeah. For those that are like, oh, just get the stopwatch in that room, there isn't one, unfortunately. That's a room that has like a bunch of different sub-weapons, the stopwatch being one of the few sub-weapons that aren't there. I've had a lot of people tell me, oh, just get a backup right there. It doesn't exist. I'm sorry. I wish it did. I've had this exact same situation happen to me before, so I know what the backup is. It's just kind of slow.
I often think about speedrunning in that way. It's like you have to make every kind of mistake once, at least once, to be able to get the run where they don't all happen.
Oh, yeah.
Like, it's like gaining knowledge. Like, okay, now I've made that mistake. I'll never do that again.
Oh, man. Yeah, I mean, speedrunning is honestly just as much about practice as it is about practicing the mistakes. You know?
Yeah.
Like doing runs, finding out like, oh, I didn't even know that that was an issue that could happen. And then you work your way backwards to figure out how to prevent it from happening again.
Yeah, exactly.
Grab this little guy right up here. We will finally start seeing how much damage I'm doing as well. That's what that relic does. It shows you the actual damage of your attacks. Like right there, I did 50 damage with that wing smash. Yeah, lots of wing smashing, lots of mist batting, which is the technique that I'm using to return my or refresh my momentum. Like if I wanted to turn around or stop myself from going too far. This is the detour that costs the 40 seconds, by the way. Because I've already been through here, I don't need to be here again. I'm just coming here for that stopwatch and then leaving. Oh, come on. And the reason we get the stopwatch is for this room right here. If you use a stopwatch in this room, it opens up that statue. And there's no other way to get in here, just to get those two map tiles. Let's go. Cool video game. And then we'll go this way to grab these map tiles, and then we'll go this way to get the gravity boots. We finally can start doing big vertical jumps, which will help with our speed immensely. But before we go too far, I'm going to be doing another one of those floor clips like I did in the library right here. I need to set that up better. There we go. There we go. Getting that one first try feels good. Yeah, that's another one that's like 1 frame window on the jump and then a 2 frame window on the untransformed. The way that those tricks work, by the way, is I'm jumping into the slope and then untransforming. And the game calculates where to put Alucard when that happens. And if you do it just right, it'll calculate, oh, you should be in the floor now. So it puts you in the floor. That lets us get to the Holy Glasses room way earlier than intended. Normally you need a lot of other stuff. Yeah, you can see the time loss from the fact that I needed to get that extra stopwatch is right there.
So, a little bit of a soundtrack update. I'm a complete pushover for harpsichords, I have to say. Wood carving slaps.
It's good. Pretty much, I don't think there's a single... As far as like the normal music that plays in like areas, I think it's all amazing. There are some boss tracks that are very repetitive and can get a little grating over time because of that. But other than that, they're still like good tracks on their own. Like they fit the vibe well if you're fighting a boss. But if you're just listening to it on your own, it's a little grating. For example, the reason I made the tier list, by the way, is because the randomizer it added randomized music to the Soten randomizer. And so now we're listening to songs in areas that we wouldn't normally listen to them, and a lot of them being boss tracks. I thought it'd be fun to just go over what are my favorite songs in the game and stuff like that. So I've thought a decent amount about all the songs in the game. There we go. The map here can be a little tricky too, but I think we are doing a pretty good job, barring the very start of the run and then the unfortunate loss of the stopwatch. There is still a potential PB by maybe a few seconds if I clutch it up from here. We'll see, though. We'll see.
I believe, and I know chat believes as well, and they're going to show that support now with emoticons. Isn't that right, chat room? Blesses, hearts, prayer emojis, etc. Get them out. Get them cranked up.
This is the only part of the route that I'm still considering rerouting. Is I had to do 4 teleport animations there to get back to this area. Each teleport animation is about 10 seconds, so it's like a 40-second time just to get back to this one area. There's a possibility. I've been thinking about looking into a reroute there, but it's tough. This category is it's much like probably not nearly as intensive. Hold on, I have to do this. As like a Zelda 100% speedrun. You know how those, if like you want to do a reroute of one of those, it takes months of checking every possibility. Like, oh, well, we have this access to this item. Will we be able to do this? That sort of thing. I wouldn't say it's on the same level, but compared to like the kind of routes that we already have in this game, which are so solid, like they've been the same routes for nearly a decade, this is definitely the speedrun that has the potential for the most open of routes. Come on, there we go. Power of Wolf. This is a relic that I'm not getting just because I want to. I'm getting it because it allows the wolf to go really, really fast. This is slightly faster than Wing Smashing if you're able to set up a long enough hallway. Because of the acceleration, it ends up not being faster a lot of the time. But let's see here. I need to set up a pixel perfect spot right here where I'm going to be moving forward while using the heart refresh. This is very similar to the death skip. It's going to allow us to skip forward by one screen, and it blocks. There's like a switch that you need to press to access the caverns from the side. But we can just skip the barrier that is preventing us from going there by using that glitch. This is another required relic, Merman Statue. It basically just opens a door later in the game. It's a very silly relic, but it needs to be gotten in order to collect all the map tile. Come on, get me off this stupid thing. Thank you. We are good for map tiles here. The caverns is the spot where the map gets very janky. So I have to be very careful not to miss any of these map tiles if I want to complete the run legit. This waterfall in particular has some of the worst detection of whether or not you get a map tile that I've ever seen. I think I did that right. Let me double check. It looks like we are in a good spot to get all the map. Let's go, gamers. You have to really get up into the corners of the wall because the actual distance, it looks like it's 2 tiles wide, but the waterfall isn't actually 2 tiles wide. So it ends up shoving some of those map tiles like to the very, very side of the room. So getting those map tiles to actually be gotten into your to show up on the map is very annoying sometimes. There we just have to wait for that Donkey Kong skeleton to throw his barrel to let us through to this next section. There are glitches that let you skip that, but they're slower to set up than just letting the Donkey Kong throw his thing. So. Speaking of glitches, there's another glitch similar to the one that we just did to enter the caverns. It saves 10 seconds if done optimally, and I need all the time save I can get at this point, so I'm going for it.
That's what we like to see.
Oh, no. All right, let me have to set that up again. That should work. Again, we're using map buffering because I'm looking for a very specific frame of animation. This is going to skip the demon the demon familiar that opens a switch to let us into this room. We just skip right into here. So yeah, with the that glitch is known as a reverse shift line, by the way. If you want to look up how to do it using the keywords reverse shift line, you should be able to find it just fine. Let's go ahead and put the mana prism on. We're going to use that flashing screen warning. Sorry, I should have been saying that a little bit earlier, but it's only for a very quick period of time. There we go. Yeah, the other reason why that glitch saves time is because it like clips you into the floor, and like I said earlier, the game tries to put you downward as fast as it can. This is the demon card that we skipped needing to get. It saves 10 seconds because you don't have to go down to grab the demon card and then go back up. But yeah, skipping into the floor and then having it zip us downwards is actually the fastest form of movement in the entire game, if I remember correctly. It's 32 pixels per frame. And if done properly, you could actually warp to the bottom of certain areas if they're big enough, where it just instantly puts you at the bottom, which is very, very nice. There's like one instance of that that's possible in this run, but it requires a like insanely precise floor clip that isn't worth going for multiple times. So I may have a chance to show that off. If it doesn't happen, I am so sorry, gamers. You'll have to follow the stream and see if I get it in a different attempt later.
What a plug. It's in the chat.
Oh no. I've made this mistake one other time in my life, and that is freaking hilarious. While the stopwatch is active, you can't actually see in the dark at all. I can go through this room blind if I have the right setup. Try and show it off because it's funny. Like that. And the damage boost is intentional. So yeah, without being able to see, you can get through that room just fine. Normally, you're supposed to use the Echo of Bat, which I do have. It's just that if you try and use it while the stopwatch is active, it doesn't actually light up the room, which is very funny. This game has a lot of weird little weird interactions like that if you aren't prepared for, you will look silly in front of all these lovely people.
New update. Crystal Teardrops is S tier.
Yeah, it is. I think it's either number 1 or number 2 on my list. Pay no attention to the fact that I'm very low on HP. There's like a 0% chance I die. Because the Alucard shield that I have makes me regen health once I start hurting things. So I won't be at low health for very long. And we're about to fight a boss that is going to refill my HP pretty much to full. Those spikes, by the way, they do percentage-based damage, the ones that I was getting hit by earlier. So I was never at risk of like dying. You have like 10 or 11 or something, maybe even 12 hits before it'll kill you, even at full health. Just getting all the map tiles from this big old room. There we go. So, like, let's say you have 999 HP. The spikes will still do a percentage of that total. Where are you? Library card. I'm not saving time, am I? Nope. Dang. Yeah, that section went pretty well in my PB. This is one of the areas where I could save a little bit of time if I get a precise floor clip. Oh, I got it. Nice. Those are what the kinds of glitches that you just kind of go for. You kind of YOLO it. If you get it, great. If you don't, you just kind of move on and do like the backup. Saves like 6 seconds, so that's a nice little... we got to go down. All right. Yeah, the castle is quite big, so remembering exactly where to go, since we end up using the library card like 6 times or something like that in the first castle, which the library card warps you back to the very start of the library, or where the librarian is. Sometimes I'll forget, like, how many times have I warped? Which part of the route am I in? That's why these splits have little reminders on them sometimes. This is one of the few rooms where using the wolf charge is actually faster than wing smashing, and you get to see how much faster it actually is. And since the bat maintains momentum, he just zooms real fast while transforming into the bat. None of the other transformations maintain momentum, which is interesting. Which ends up being really nice for these speedrun, because you wing smash a lot as the bat, and then you untransform or transform into the mist to reset your momentum, which is really nice. Because if there wasn't a way to reset your momentum, speedrunning this game would be a lot harder. Get that room. There we go. There's a little secret wall right here. Yeah, a lot of the routing that I've done in these areas in particular where they're like kind of zigzaggy, I basically routed it so that I'm falling down those areas as much as possible. since it's usually faster to fall than it is to climb areas like this. And then areas that are much more open, like this room right next to it, I want to climb up those as much as possible because I have access to the gravity boots, which are very fast vertical jumps like this. All right. This is that floor clip that I was talking about that has the potential to zoom me downwards. Ah, there. I would have gotten it, but I did the right inputs at the right time. But there's a thing in this game known as subpixels that is very difficult to explain. But if you have the wrong subpixels, which is kind of not really your fault, you can't really do much to influence them without doing very precise setups. Sometimes tricks like that just won't work, even if you do the exact right inputs. For the most important skips, we will go out of our way to do setups to ensure that we get the correct subpixel alignment that we need. Like we'll take the time loss that it takes to set those things up. But for less important skips, like that skip would have only saved like 4 seconds. It's not worth doing like a 3-second setup just to try and save 4 seconds on something that's like frame perfect. You know? We can do this now. It's actually faster to talk to this guy in wolf form than it is to talk to him as normal Alucard. And then you're going to see me take a lot of damage here. It's because I'm in the water and I don't have access to the Holy Symbol Relic. The Holy Symbol Relic allows you to breathe underwater, basically. So, or something lore implicated about vampires, I don't actually know. Something about running water is bad for vampires or something. But yeah, I'm using this opportunity to get all the map tiles at the bottom here. I'm also spamming the mana prism because it gives me invincibility for a little while. Because I would have had to wait for that the ferryman to open that door anyways. So I just get the map tiles the quick and easy way. Let's go ahead and get the holy symbol. This is actually required for the strat that we're going to be doing later. But now that we don't have to wait for that guy to open a door, we can just wing smash our way out of here. This is also one of the tougher wing smashes in the game because you cannot gain or lose height too quickly. Because if you touch the ceiling, you get what's known as a terrain boost, which will zip you down into the water, which will untransform you. If you go too low, you'll just touch the water, which will untransform you. So to keep the wing smash chain going, you need to be very, very precise about your exact height. And every time you do the wing smash input, you are gaining and losing height. So I'm going to be going for a glitch right here, where I kill Scylla while off screen, which will deload that door. It'll reload once I enter it, flashing screen for 2 seconds. And then we can leave without having to wait for the door to open on the other side. Here's some use of the holy symbol right here. We do not take damage while underwater now since we've acquired that. In this section, I need to get map tiles up to here and then turn around. I have a visual cue for that. Oh, nice hit. That's very rare to get hit there. While underwater, for the most part, the fastest form of movement, since we can't transform into the bat, is to just shield dash again. This is classic video game logic, where if you're underwater, you just have to be slow for no reason. So everything's kind of slowed down. And it looks like my map is full at a glance. So let's go ahead and... Wow, gold split. Let's go. We take those. We take those. We have a chance to do that floor clip again because we are library carding once again. I did not get it that time. So it was nice at least we got to show off what the floor clip looks like. It saves a decent amount of time if you get it. But since we've already filled all the map in the library, we basically use the library cards just to reset to a spot that's closer to our next location that we want to go to. But we don't go back to the library because we need to collect more map tile or anything like that. And that's pretty much the entirety of the first castle done. Relatively okay. Only being 1.5 minutes behind isn't too bad. Considering I have 2 minutes of time saved, there is a chance we can still PB. There was a pretty big mistake in my PB in the second castle, so we'll see if we can save that time. Have to finish up the castle keep here. there's some extra map tiles we never got a chance to get our first time through. Okay, thank you for dropping that input. Let's go. The reason we do this later is because we now have access to the gravity boots, so we can gain height faster vertically. There we go. Look at that achievement. One of the other things that's like interesting about speedrunning this category is the way that Xbox Live achievements work. I basically need to make a new profile every single time I do a run of this category because I can't undo achievements on this Xbox profile. So this particular profile didn't have a lot of achievements, hence why I'm getting some random ones. Those ones don't really matter for the importance of this run. The only important achievement is Seeker, which shows up at the very end if I've done everything correctly, which will signify that we got every single map tile in the game. This is not where I split, by the way. It looks like I'm saving like 30 seconds or something, or 20 seconds. I am not, because there's a map tile right above my head that I need to get, but I cannot get because I'm in the middle of a cutscene right now. I have no control of Alucard. So I'm gonna warp back to the first castle to get exactly one map tile. Oop, just like that. And then we split. Still save some time though. We'll take that one whole second. All right. And here's the second castle. The second castle, I will say, is much harder than the first castle as far as overall execution goes, because everything is kind of wacky and upside down. So the terrain in the upside down castle is much more awkward to maneuver through than the first castle. So because of that, there's going to be some awkward looking solutions to the fact that the terrain looks very janky comparatively. There we go. Some bonking might happen. It's fine. Am I too far to the... No, I'm good. There we go. Not only that, the way that the map behaves in this game isn't like the same from castle to castle. So first and second castle actually like it's not like they just took the game and flipped it upside down. The way that the map works is actually unique to the second castle here, which is one of the reasons why you see me going to different locations to collect specific map. This movement is actually impossible. It's fine. Okay. Yep. So there's a strat that I go for. If I do it correctly, I can save a lot of time, but unfortunately, I could not do it because it is very difficult. So I'm going to have to do some extra dive kicking here that I didn't want to do. Instead, I would be able to fly essentially as the bat the entire time from like the start of the corner where that flying skull was. All right, we are in the second castle now, and we are doing okay, I will say. I said earlier, second castle is a little bit harder than the first castle, general movement-wise, because it is a more awkward terrain that you have to go through. Like the game obviously was designed around Alucard being in the normal castle, and then late in development, they're like, but what if we flipped it? Oh, let me remind myself to do that before I get bodied. I got bodied, never mind. So the cutscene with Richter, where I save him, it undoes the spell that we did, that we used to use the shield rod spell. There we go. It undoes it, so I have to reapply the shield rod effect onto the shield again at some point in the second castle, and I always forget to do that right before fighting that guy, because that's the first time we actually need to use the shield, because everything else has just been like general movement. This is pretty good. Not only is the movement more awkward, the enemies are much more punishing in the second castle as well. So mistakes are much more just punishing in general. Like there's a chance I can actually die. Even though I have insanely overpowered equipment, one of the downsides of using that duplicator that gives me access to infinite mana prisms is that it lowers your defense essentially to 0. So you are much more susceptible to taking big damage. We're also not necessarily under-leveled, but we haven't been getting all of the possible like level ups that you would get in like a casual playthrough, I would say. Here's that gear puzzle again, but this time in reverse. Oh, you're not supposed to hit me there. There we go. A little bit of time loss. One of the nice things about having the stopwatch in this room is that 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. That is how many you have to hit that cog. I'm going to try and go for a pretty particular out of bounds setup. Well, it's not out of bounds. It's like a clip. That ruins it. Random RNG from the Medusa heads, of course. That's hilarious. Okay, never mind. I wanted to show off something cool, but the Medusa head said no. It does save a little bit of time, too. It's both a swag strat and a legitimate time-saving strategy. You would just clip through a wall, and you'd end up right here, basically. And it gives you all these map tiles without needing to do all this extra movement. Saves a decent amount of time, too.
Medusa head screwing up a Castlevania speedrun is like the most classic.
Yep. They are quite difficult to deal with. There are very few things in this game that are RNG dependent. Medusa heads and Fleamen are basically like the two big culprits of RNG screwing over your runs. But for the most part, it's not like the whole run is ruined. You just have to do some backup strats a lot of the time. This is what I was talking about earlier, where some of the rooms in the first castle were a little awkward to get through. This ends up being pretty nice to get map tiles because I'm going to be getting the map tile above me and below me pretty quickly. The dive kick is similar in speed to the wing smashing at the very start. The startup of the dive kick is 4.5 pixels per frame, as opposed to the wing smash is 6 pixels per frame. But you could do it alongside the gravity jumps, so you can end up getting more map tiles per second than if you would be able to by just wing smashing like left and right over and over again. This room is another room that's really easy in this category because you just kind of fly around and you get all the map tiles kind of for free. Whereas most other rooms require very specific setups. Also, if you notice that like I'm following the ceiling every time I wing smash against like a slope like that, that's a mechanic known as terrain boosting. So every time you wing smash into some sort of slope, you will follow that slope, that terrain, and your momentum will be pushed in that direction. So if it's a slope going upwards, the terrain boost will push you upwards. If it's a slope going downwards, you can end up getting pushed downwards. So most of the time you want to use terrain boost to your advantage, like here. That pushes me downwards to get into the right position that I need.
The movement through so many of these areas is like utterly mesmerizing.
Yeah, it's one of the things I remember as a viewer to this game before I started speedrunning. I was like, man, this is just so smooth, so nice. It's very satisfying to pull off as well because there is the input that you have to do being relatively, I don't want to say complicated, but there is a skill ceiling to doing it, especially chaining them well. So it feels incredibly good to get like really clean wing smash chains in this game. It's one of the most satisfying feelings overall. All right. And the fact that you have access to, in all of the glitched categories, infinite mana prisms is also really nice. So you can kind of just like do as much wing smashing as you please. You don't have to be limited by the amount of mana that you have on hand at a given moment. Is that my first level up in this section? That's actually really good. Normally you level up like 4 times here because the enemies here are incredibly high experience gain overall. I have done runs, by the way. I'm sure someone in the chat is asking if I've ever gotten a Chrysogrim drop while doing this run. Yes, I have. Those enemies known as the Shmoo, they're like the little flying ghosts. They have a chance to drop basically like the best weapon in the game, especially if you're a casual and don't know about like the Alucard shield stuff. Did I really lose that much time? Possible. My PB was pretty clean, I think, here. There we go. Here's a room I forget pretty often. Let me not forget that room. Those beam skeletons do a lot of damage, so I'm staying in mist form to remain invincible so I don't accidentally get beamed to death. I'm pretty sure a beam would big toss me, which is a term for taking more than half of your health in a single hit. It puts Alucard in this animation where he gets flung infinitely across a room until he hits a ceiling or a wall. And it is very slow to get put into animation when you are not trying to do it on purpose. There are some speedrun strats that in other categories where you get big tossed on purpose. But in this category, you do not want that. All right, get this room real quick.
The term "big toss" is excellent.
Yeah, it's I don't know who came up with it. It's been a thing for longer than I've been speedrunning the game. So there's a lot of interesting little like names for tech in this game. Like I said earlier, there's a lot of glitch hunting and stuff that happened in the Brazilian community. So there's some terms that are kind of translated, kind of funny. Like one of the glitches in this game is where you big toss against a object or like against a floor or something, and then you instantly transform into the bat, and it'll push your hitbox through the floor and allow you to clip. It's known as like a blood crescent moon clip or something like that. I forget the exact term. It's a very silly term that means nothing to what the glitch actually is. It's just the way that it was translated. Somebody in chat will probably type the actual name for it. I just forget the actual name for it. Yes, Talik, just like bat drifting. We had a... Oh my god, I don't want to talk about bat drifting on GDQ, please. There's a frame perfect tech you can do with the bat where you transform into the mist and then into bat, but within the between those inputs you turn around, and it's useful in like 3 places to save like minute amount of time, and it's a strategy that I've been told to use for a very long time, and I just haven't done it. And then me and Talik got into a whole discussion about using it, and now it's a meme. Because we said bat drift like 700 times during that chat, and people are like, what the heck is a bat drift? And it started to lose all meaning. So, you know, fun little things.
You said you weren't going to talk about it, but then you just fully talked about it. I think you got hard baited there.
Yes. Isn't that what being a streamer is all about?
Getting hard baited?
Getting hard baited. Yes.
I think you're probably right.
Come on, get me down there. There we go. Oh, no level up there? Nice. I guess my experience is better than it is on average. I think I've gotten less level ups overall, so that's a little bit of time save. Incoming, probably the worst, most infamous map tiles that most people remember being terrible when trying to get casual 200.6 for themselves. Oh, nice poison. This guy's great. Doppelganger 40, let's go. He normally doesn't get a hit in. It's after this room. The inverted caverns have some of the worst detection boxes for whether or not you've acquired a map tile. I have some interesting strats that I will attempt to mitigate the bad detection. It'll look cool if I get it, and if I don't get it, I will look silly. So that is this category in a nutshell.
We love to see it.
All right. Since I don't have a weapon in my main hand, I'm actually going to be using a spell here, the Summon Spirit, 3 times to open this secret up. Otherwise, I wouldn't be able to make it into there. These map tiles are pretty lenient. You can kind of just jump into the ceiling and get them. It's some of the later map tiles in this area. Yeah, like those are fine. It's these map tiles right here. You actually need to transform into the wolf and use a hidden technique that the game doesn't tell you about, where you can swim with the wolf by pressing triangle or W. Not W, sorry. Triangle or Y to start swimming upwards. Oh my goodness, I am doing well. Never mind. I shouldn't have said anything. Oh no. Still faster to go for the strat. There we go. Whee! It looks really cool, and I still missed a map tile. I love this game. This is why this game is, this category can be evil, but it's fine. It's one of the reasons why I open my map multiple times in this section to ensure that I don't miss a map tile like that. There we go. And then some of the hardest wing smashing in the game. Yeah, dropping a wing smash there makes sense. When you see me just untransform, That's known as like dropping a wing smash, where I go for the input and the input somewhere in there I didn't do it correctly, and it'll force me out of the bat transformation back into Alucard form. And if you do that in the wrong spots, you can end up losing a lot of time. Nice. That section was clean. Again, while underwater, basically the fastest form of movement ends up being shield dashing a lot of the time. I got those maps, right? Yeah. This room is tough to get through in general, in pretty much every category if you're not just wing smashing through it the entire time. Because it's just like enemy spam. On the Xbox version as well, there are glitched hitboxes that can occur. Thankfully, that didn't happen. The Rock Knights can just like, their hitboxes will completely detach from their sprite and you can get hit from invisible enemies basically. And it is very not fun. Okay, pretty decent death fight. Again, most of the boss fights in this game are pretty trivial. We have like 228 damage happening every 6 frames against these bosses, so their HP bars just completely melt. That little secret area that we used the glitch to get into in the first castle, I will be getting to later, because it just ends up being faster to clear that section later. Once I have access to a different relic, the gas cloud relic, which we will be getting very shortly. This is some of the cooler movement that you can do in this game. Like doing vertical gravity jumps while avoiding some of the more jagged terrain. There you go. Not too bad. Yeah, this is where the category kind of just turns into wing smash, go here, wing smash, go there. There's nothing too difficult about it other than just going from point A to point B with good movement.
So this route that you're currently playing is the original?
Like, I came up with it?
Yeah.
Yeah, so the only other people that I know of that have done 200.6% runs have done them either before a lot of the glitches that I use in this run to like go past certain areas were known about, or they just did a completely glitchless run. KN Naka, who is a Japanese runner, had done 200.6% glitchless a very long time ago. And then Satoryu is the other runner who, from my understanding, wasn't doing a glitchless run, but the glitches just weren't known about back then. This is back in like 2011 or something like that. I might be getting some of the details wrong, but those are the other 2 runners that I know of that have done this speedrun in full. But this route, with the discoveries that we've made over the years for different glitches and strategies, is basically one that I've created from scratch. Nice. There's some weird terrain boosts that can happen there that will you can end up losing time sometimes. This is what I think most people consider as the hardest boss in the game because he has the most HP and is really annoying. This is Galma. We have the best shield, so we don't care. We just kind of jump around and hit him with the shield a lot. There we go. So when we're in the first castle, a lot of the times when we go to very far away parts of the game, we could just library card to get back to the center of the castle. In the second castle, we can't do that. There is no like second castle equivalent of a library card. We have to use the normal warp system that this game has, where you go to different locations and it'll warp you around the map. So I have to backtrack now from this point to the last warp location, or the closest warp location.
Worth mentioning, perhaps, that you have missed a split, my friend.
Oh. Whatever. That's normal. That happens. Where do I normally split? Oh, I split at death. Interesting. Half the time, I don't even know what my splits are because they mean nothing to me.
That's a big vibe.
There's my next split. Hey, we saved 5 seconds. Let's go. We're gaming.
Gaming.
All right. Oh, no.
I will take this opportunity to remind everyone that if you do enjoy Soten's speedrunning, or if you've liked what you've seen today, I highly recommend following DB on Twitch, twitch.tv/DragonBloods. Great streamer. Highly recommend. The link will be in chat momentarily.
Yeah, if you like world record level speedrunning of this game, or you want to see what the randomizer of this game looks like, I play the randomizer quite often, as well as other Castlevania content, either like casual playthroughs or speedruns of learning new games, all sorts of Castlevania goodness on twitch.tv/DragonBloods. There we go. Did I actually get that map tile? That map tile screwed me over before. It looks like you get it, but the map in the second castle is slightly different than it is in the first castle. So you end up doing the same strategy you did in the first castle, and you think it works, but it doesn't, because this game is silly. Like the same visual cue you have for one room that works in the regular castle, it doesn't work in the inverted castle. There we go. Definitely got all those map tiles. Yes, I did. Nice. Yeah, that's a tough section, so I feel pretty good about that. These map tiles. Alright, this is a room I can definitely save some time in if I don't bonk my head on the ceiling. Ooh, that was close. Nice. And I definitely got all those map tiles. Let's go. Definitely am saving time over my PB in that one room. That's for sure. That room is surprisingly difficult to get through without bonking your head a bunch of times. And if you bonk your head, you lose your horizontal momentum and it ends up losing a decent chunk of time.
This comment in chat is sending me. This has some kind of Hollow Knight vibes.
Yeah, honestly, the Castlevania devs, they really did rip off Hollow Knight.
Yeah, I know, dude. It's crazy how similar they are.
Yeah, it would be nice if, like, somewhere in the credits they, like, at least gave them the credit they deserve for being an inspiration, but honestly, rude of them. Oh, I was supposed to split. I would have saved time if I remembered to split. Whatever, who cares?
Super Mario Brothers has like really big Celeste energy.
Yeah, I mean, it's more of like a simplified, stripped down version, which is, I understand why they were going for that. You know,
you want something simpler.
Oh, man.
No hate to the person that posted that, obviously. It killed me.
Yeah. Hollow Knight's a great game, by the way. It's one of those games where, obviously, as like a certain person, you get people asking like, oh, have you tried Hollow Knight? Have you tried this Metroidvania? Have you tried that Metroidvania? And I will say, considering I like Soten so much, I actually don't like a whole lot of other Metroidvanias. They usually, because I love this game so much, I usually just end up comparing them to Soten, and I'm usually like, I'd rather just play Soten. Soten did this a little bit better in a lot of areas, but I will say Hollow Knight as a whole package was one of the first Metroidvanias to really make me rethink. Maybe I do like Metroidvanias. Maybe the other ones are just bad. But, so yeah, shout outs to that.
They regard Hollow Knight with, I mean, it is regarded highly these days, very highly.
Mm-hmm. And yes, when Silk Song comes out in the year 2035, I will play it.
2035, we will have already had 2 more Soten Olympics by then.
Well, that's just a practice for Silksong, obviously.
Well, yes, of course.
Oh, don't bonk there. I love these little bone dragon enemies. They just vibe so hard in these rooms. Oh, never mind. We're vibing with them. This is some of the hardest like general movement in the second castle because the height at which you're able to wing smash is very particular. Again, a lot of the skill of controlling your wing smashes in this game is like controlling the height and where you are going with the wing smash, controlling it either upward or downward, or maintaining like a very particular height that you need as to not bonk on the terrain in front of you. So there's like a lot of sharp edges and like places where you could just throw your face against something and then you untransform and bonk and it makes you look silly. And that section is clean.
I have an interesting, actually, I just was sent an interesting art critic a piece that I think is really quite interesting. I'll get your take on it here, Dragon Blitz. It is saying that it's interesting that Picasso's Blue Period actually ripped off Sonic the Hedgehog fan art, which I thought was like really quite a take. I guess I agree. I don't know.
Yes. Those are just true facts.
That's just the truth.
It's one of those things that a lot of people don't like to bring up because they don't want to make Picasso feel bad for feeling a little uninspired or unoriginal with his works. But sometimes politeness, you have to forgo politeness for the truth.
Facts are more important these days than ever.
Yes. Okay, there we go. That room, if you remember, the first castle version was annoying. It's even more annoying in the reverse castle version because there's a bunch of imps. I haven't talked about the imps yet, but the imps are one of the worst enemies, just in general. They're just the worst. They have like a command grab that will take control away from the player for like anywhere from like 5 to 10 seconds, depending on how hard you mash the controller. So you're just mashing for your dear life while they're trying to just ruin your day. And there's so many of them that you can end up getting stun locked, where one imp will grab you and then the next one will grab you right afterwards. And then the next one will grab you right afterwards. After that, it's very, very funny. In any percent, there is only one room that you need to worry about the imps in, and it is a lot of newer players like first introduction to the imp enemies, because you usually don't see them very often when you're just playing casually. Or if you play casually, you don't really have to interact with them in that way. Or if you do interact with them in that way, it doesn't really lose you time or anything. But there's also a cool combo that they do. I say cool because it's super cool when they grab me and then the enemies around them fire like a projectile into me and kill me instantly. That's super cool. Here's a unique strat where we're going to go through one side of this red door, but we're actually not going to go all the way through it. We're going to end up getting that map tile that's on the other end of that loading trigger later. And it ends up saving a little bit of time. Here's a room full of imps. And I'm using, hopefully this damage boost works. There we go. To land on that little ledge here. Luck potion. That's the other thing about the imps, is that they drop a luck potion, almost taunting you like, hey, good luck, bro. Here's some luck for you. Okay, barely missed the quick kill on Beelzebub there, but it's not a big deal. We got the backup. There we go. Yeah, one of the nice things about that fight is you want to kill Beelzebub and then spend the rest of the time waiting for the animation of his death to collect the other map tiles in the boss arena. Okay. Need to get this map tile up here. In fact, I'm going to use a stopwatch. Bitterflies are an enemy that's completely invisible unless you stop moving, and then they become visible. As you could imagine, from a speedrunning perspective, I hate them because I don't want to stand still. But they are fully invincible, or sorry, not invincible, invisible if I do not stand still. So it is very annoying to deal with them. Go up this way, there we go. Yeah, that bonk happens quite often. That's one of the moments where like you want a terrain boost to give you enough vertical momentum, but if you're not in the exact right position, the boost that you get isn't as strong as it would be otherwise. This room's pretty chill. You just wing smash straight, back and forth. Yeah,
Is,
one of the
I have
reasons.
a question here in
Oh,
chat
go
for
for
you,
it.
if you don't mind.
Yeah, go for
Is
it.
game completion percentage based entirely on map coverage?
The one that shows up in game, yes. So it's one of the reasons why you've never seen a 100% speedrun at a GDQ or really anywhere for this game, because it wouldn't make sense to do 100% because the maximum percentage for this game is 200.6. So doing a 100% speedrun would only be half the game and would be quite arbitrary. So that's usually why this game, the categories are based around like just achieving something in game, like completing the game with any percentage as fast as you can, or beating every boss in the game, or collecting every relic in the game, stuff like that. And for the longest time, no one really, outside of those two other runners that I mentioned, really wanted to touch 200.6%, which makes sense. I've learned through trial and error that this category is incredibly brutal. Very small mistakes can snowball. You can just end up losing a run for missing a map tile, or just a map tile not really showing up when it really should have. Like, you did everything you could to make the map tile show up, but the game said no. And from my understanding, there's not like a lot of people in the community that exactly know why map tiles work exactly the way that they work. And if those people do know, I haven't absorbed any of that information because it's probably incredibly technical to the point where I wouldn't be able to parse it through my meager small brain. So most of the time, I just hope that the map tiles work the way that they work in practice. And sometimes they don't, and I get
all
very,
we can.
yeah.
That's all we can hope for.
I think this should work, right? There we go. There's a little secret here where you have to go through one side as the bat and then the other side is wolf. That's one of those things where, like, how are you supposed to figure that out in 1997 without buying some sort of strategy guide? I have no clue. I really do think that those some of those secrets were put into the game just to sell strategy guides. Come on, get back here. Those cave trolls, their name is quite apt. They control me out of getting that map tile right there. And these map tiles right here. One more right there. There we go. I think I can just get them barely right. The positioning for this is quite precise. Hopefully that works. Yep. All right, we got those map tiles. Again, the inverted caverns, horrible detection for what counts and what doesn't for these map tiles. And something to do with like transforming into the wolf allows for, I think, the camera to scroll up more while underwater, and that's why those map tiles are easier to get as the wolf. You can technically get them without transforming into the wolf, but it's like pixel perfect. It's most people remember just banging their head against the ceiling a lot casually until they eventually get those map tiles, and it's because it is pretty much pixel perfect to get those map tiles as Alucard, where it is much more lenient with the wolf. Okay, and I got all those map tiles. Let's go. Ooh, tiny little bonk there. Yeah, losing some more time here. That makes sense. This section is probably some of the hardest general movement, and it is showing. There we go. We got the Eye of Vlad finally. We left it there for a while. And now I need to equip our demon friend. One of the best voice lines in the game.
This switch hasn't been pressed yet.
The voice acting for the demon is just so good. The voice acting in general in this game is amazing. The reason why we come here later is specifically so I can break that door open using the Gas Cloud, which is a upgrade to your Mist transformation where it starts to do damage. It's very useful to break open like breakable walls with it. And again, we're going to be using that warp location. We're coming up pretty much on the end of the run, which is nice. We're going to find out if I missed any map tiles or not, which is a little nerve-wracking, but we'll find out. If I did everything correctly, once I get to the fight with Shaft, the achievement should pop up at the bottom of the screen.
You want to take a bet?
I feel like I got all the map tiles. I think it's gonna pop up.
All right.
I think it's gonna pop up.
I believe.
Part of me doesn't want it to because it's not. If this isn't a PB, that means this is another file that I can't do attempts on, and I'm gonna have to make a new file. And making new files takes like 30 minutes because I have to get a clear file, which is its own thing that I won't get into too much here. Essentially, you have to beat the game once before you can actually start doing speedruns of the game because it gives you different properties on replay than it does on your first playthrough. Like being able to skip cutscenes and stuff like that doesn't happen until you've beaten the game at least once. Here I'm aligning another reverse shift line similar to the one we did to skip death. There we go. It's pixel perfect yet again. There we go. I'm just pulling up the map to help buffer a 1 or 2 frame walk forward to make this trick work. There we go. And then we just end up in the ceiling. We skip a very long cutscene where the door would open up for this final fight area, and this is the end of the game. Considering this was a no reset, if I get all the map tile that I needed, this is actually a pretty decent run. Especially considering we were like about this far behind at the start of the second castle, so going even with my world record into the second castle is not bad at all. Let's see if we got it. It should pop up now. Okay. I could use this file for later speedruns. Oh, so nice of my controller to wait for the very end of the run to unplug itself. Very, very nice. I did not get all the map tiles. I'm going to see how far off I was because there's another way to check your map completion by opening the menu and seeing how many rooms in the room count show up. So let's find out together.
I love that you're expecting something to pop and the reconnect controllers.
That's a lot of rooms missed. Nice. I missed like 6 rooms. I wonder where they were. We'll never know. If this was on my stream, I usually don't finish the actual run out. I would go back and find all the map tiles and then reset. It's a very brutal category for that reason. Like, I missed a map tile somewhere out in the world, and I have no clue what it was, and like going back would require minutes of just like fiddling around.
GG though. Nice work.
Yeah.
Especially for like a marathon setting, no reset.
Yeah. I'm pretty happy with that. Only being 2.5-ish minutes behind world record, that's not too bad.
Sweet. Well, gamers, please be sure to follow Dragon Blitz, and I have good news. There's more Soten content. We're going to take a very quick break. Just get up, stretch, grab some water. We'll be right back with any percent PB attempts for the last little segment of the show here. So gamers, don't go anywhere.
For theirs is already a hard lot.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Games Done Quick Hotfix. My name is Adef, and this is PB Precipice. We have Dragon Blitz here playing Castlevania Symphony of the Night. We just had 200.6%, and Dragon Blitz completed an awesome run of that. Some quick announcements before we get into the next segment, though. Frost Fatales is February 27th to March 5th. Use !FF in chat or go to gamesdonquick.com/framefatales for more info. And stay tuned after this for It's Dangerous to Go Alone, a show about co-op runs featuring Ori and the Blind Forest, and then Cat Quest 2. But Dragon Blitz, we have any percent now, so I'm going to let you take it away and explain what's going on.
Yes. Hello. Welcome, everybody. We are going to be doing any percent runs. I'm going to go ahead and get into it. This is a much more chill run, especially early on, so I'll be able to explain a lot of the stuff as we get into it. So yeah, let's start in 3, 2, 1, go. Yeah, the first 8 minutes of this run, like I was mentioning a little while back, you cannot lose time. if you are within a like 30-second window. So as long as I don't lose more than 30 seconds at the very start of the run, I am always going to be on world record pace 8 minutes in, which is about half of the run. So the whole premise of this speedrun is I'm trying to save time in that last 8 minutes to squeeze every little optimization out that I can. The movement is going to be a little bit more restrictive because we won't have access to all of the same movement options. A lot of the relics that give us extra movement options are just faster to skip a lot of the time. This game is very broken, so you can get to the very end of the game with basically just the bat relic and like heart refresh item. In fact, the low percent categories of this game are pretty insane. There's multiple low percent categories if that gives you a hint for how broken this game can be. But yeah, with pretty much no restrictions, you just go straight ahead. The first half of the run is dedicated to getting the bat relic, and then after getting the bat relic, I think it's like 6 minutes until the game is over. Again, we're coming up on that death skip. We've seen it a few times today. I'm getting a level up to skip a screen. This glitch is known as a reverse shift line. Found by Sockfolder, fun fact. The dude that breaks games open. If you need a game broken open, ask Sockfolder.
Isn't Sockfolder also responsible for the ace setup in this game?
Yes. Ace in this game is also Sockfolder's doing. But yeah, reverse shift lines like completely break this game open. Before reverse shift lines were known about, it wasn't viable to try and skip death in any percent. So the any percent was a decent amount slower because we didn't have access to this really overpowered gear. And it was a lot harder as well because these enemies that you have to fight, they are completely trivial when you just hit them once with your super overpowered late game sword. But without that sword, you have to punch them to death with your fists. And the fists have not nearly as good of a hitbox. They're still decently powerful. With the fists, you can like double hit certain enemies because of the way that the hitbox works. So you can still do a lot of damage quickly, but it's just a lot harder. And yeah, this is the part of the run where I really can't lose time unless I completely screw up. So we are on world record pace for the next 8 minutes, regardless of what I do, unless I open the menu. If I open the menu one more time, then I start to lose time. And that is because of the way that the in-game timer works. The in-game timer pauses when you open the menu or pull up the map. So you want to minimize the amount of times you open the map or open the menus during the clock rush, because then the statue that you're waiting on at the very end of the clock rush will also wait for the amount of time that you've been in the map. So let's say you were in the map for like a full second, the clock cycle is going to be offset by a full second.
That's some hype content right there. I'm on world record pace every run.
Pretty much, yeah. It's almost a meme at this point in the chat on my stream that it's like, oh, we're on world record pace. Don't worry, guys. Like, I'll make a mistake during the section, and I'm like, it's fine, guys. We're still on world record pace. It could look very, very like a very bad mistake. So much so that sometimes I get worried when I get a PB. I think back, like, was my clock rush any good? Because I wasn't paying attention. Half the time I don't pay attention during the clock rush. I'm just chatting with the chat, you know, goofing around, talking about whatever. And then after the clock rush is over is usually when I, like, you know, serious time, start focusing on the run. So sometimes I wonder, like, people watching back the world record VOD, it's like, how is this the world record? This guy gets hit like 700 times. He's like not even paying attention. But yeah, this whole section, the main goal is to get the wolf relic. Like we showed off a little bit earlier, if you weren't here for that, the wolf relic gives you access to a dive kick in a way that I think the developers didn't really intend for. They obviously intended for you to be able to dive kick out of transformations, but I don't think they intended for you to gain height by doing that, by dive kicking off of candles and stuff. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to be dive kicking off of a candle when normally you don't have access to the dive kick until you get the leap stone, which is much later on in the game. And the whole purpose of doing that is to get into the Colosseum early so we can get the mist relic, and the mist relic is required to get the bat relic. And if you saw from that last run, the bat go real fast. So we want that bat
real fast.
Yeah, we want that bat as soon as possible. Fun fact about the experience route, I need to skip that one blue axe knight. That is a little interesting thing. Usually you just, it's very nice because the experience route for this part of the game just kind of devolves into, if you see an enemy, just kill it. Just it's faster to just kill it. You get the experience that you need, except for that one blue axe knight. And that only works if you get that double kill that I was talking about in one of the runs earlier. If you don't get the double kill, then you do kill that blue axe knight. The double kill just allows you to skip one level up during the clock rush section. So if you don't get the double kill, it is not an actual time loss, unless you're doing a category where you need to have a fast clock rush section, like the 200.6 run, where getting a sub 8 in 200.6, I don't think I've gotten one ever, which would be the fastest possible cycle. I don't think I've gotten one in my dozens or so of attempts. Gotta flick this elevator switch open. I have to kill this sword lord over here. It's a little bit slower to do so, but he sets up the experience such that I'll skip and I'll level up after the clock rush, and that starts saving real time. That's 3 full seconds of time save. Normally you would level up at the lesser demon boss fight. That skips that level up.
That's kind of genius that you want the level up to take place before, so that afterwards, because it doesn't matter in the before time.
Exactly. In fact, that's one of the reasons why we go out of our way for our garnet right there. It is a sellable that is easy to get to by doing a sloped wolf jump. But at this point, anything you do during the clock rush, you can't lose time for. So you want to do as much side content, I guess, that you can during this one cycle. So that way you can best prepare yourself for where the actual time save and time loss starts mattering. It's one of the reasons why we get a lot of extra map tiles in that 200.6 run during the clock rush, because it's faster to do it during the clock rush, because otherwise we would just be sitting at the clock waiting for 30 seconds doing nothing, acquiring no map tiles, so it's just not as efficient. Oh no, the table wanted my booty there. But we're fine.
Table skip.
Yep. Not very efficient. But as you can see on the timer on screen, if mine is showing up on the stream, we are here with like 20 seconds to spare. So there's no way to gain or lose time at this point, and this is where the real time save and time loss begins. I'm going to try and time a particular jump so I can exit this section like as optimally as possible by looking at my timer, so I'll know when the clock will move. I was 1 frame early. That's hilarious. Maybe not exactly 1 frame, but about 1 frame early. And that lost me about 2 seconds, right? 1.7, yeah. Still possible to world record here. Just really hard now. I should be like -5 there with the time saves from the no music. Yeah, the music being off, you start saving time like immediately, which is really nice in this category. So I'm usually, if I do the that jump properly, I'm like -5 or -6 on that split. Oh, sorry, not 5, but 0.5. Sorry, not 5 full seconds.
I was about to say, I was like, oh my god.
No, it doesn't save that much time. It saves like 1 second over the course of the entire run. But that's 1 free second that I will take to the grave every day of the week. I need it. This boss fight, we didn't really get to talk about it in 200.6. They stand still because they're waiting for that cutscene that I skipped to finish, but I skipped it. But the timer doesn't end, so they're calmly waiting for a cutscene to finish that I don't have to wait for. There we go. Hey, we saved 0.7 there. I'll take that. Only being 1 second behind from world record at this point is not bad. I definitely have time to save on this split. I have time to save pretty much everywhere except for the very last split. That split is very, very good in my PB. It's my gold. Nice. Good book jump. They did not troll me too hard. Sometimes you could just do everything correct, what feels like everything is correct, and because of the book's hitbox, you just kind of get, you just don't get the jump that you want, and it's really unfortunate. It's 90% consistent, I would say. Like 90% of the time, it just works the way it should. And then every once in a while, just due to like small changes in the way that you approach the books, they'll just give you a bad pattern.
I'm interested interested in this. I'm interested in.
Thank you. Thank you.
Did I? That's hilarious. I bought one too many Buffalo Stars. So I didn't have enough money to buy the duplicator. I was off by a little bit. That's going to lose me a little bit of time. I'm going to take a look at our split coming up at the Soul of Bat. And if we are too far behind, that will be like my one reset, if that is okay.
Yeah,
Which is
no,
going to
that's
be in
totally
like 30
fine.
seconds. Okay.
That's totally fine.
Yeah, bad RNG on the split or on that section too. This is definitely a dead run. I'm just curious how far behind I am at this point. Because if I'm more than like +2, then it's pretty much rip. Oh, I'm already more than +2. All right, I'm resetting. Yeah, there's no salvaging that.
All right, so this will be the final run. Good luck.
Thank you. Yeah, I'll no reset this regardless. Even if I make like all the mistakes possible, I should still finish in like 17 minutes. I'm pretty consistently been finishing like 17-minute runs when I do no resets, so should be fine.
Yeah, typically on PB Precipice, obviously, like we allow infinite resets, etc. But given the time constraint that there is another show after this, we just have to respect that we got to end around the right time. And so, because we already did the 2.5 hours of 200.6, we're just restricted to this amount for this run.
Yeah. Like here, this would be a major reset on like the 200.6% category because Dracula like trolled me pretty hard there. But because the clock rush is a huge buffer of time, like it doesn't matter. Like I had like 20 plus seconds at the end of the run to just kind of sit there and do nothing. So, and if I do a clock rush that's like pretty decently executed, I get there pretty like on 7:30 pace a lot of the time. So on average, I should be there like 30 seconds ahead. So I have like 30 seconds to play with. I think that was all the zombies I needed to kill there. You have to kill a specific number of zombies there to set up the experience for the level up for death skip here. Again, taking damage just to lure him over, and so he barks faster. Oh no, that's not gonna work. All right. That is an unfinishable run. Yeah, thank you.
You can take one more. That's fine.
Yeah. All right, this is just gonna be a no reset. That's fine. The controller held on as long as it could. It's fine. You did good today. Considering this is my backup controller that I really didn't want to have to use for today, but my main controller died. For those that did not hear earlier, this controller has some connectivity issues, and my main controller is completely unusable. Like it will not get registered by the console at all. So every once in a while, it'll just think that I unplugged the controller, even though I didn't, and there's not much I can really do about that. It's very slow because it pauses the screen like that. So odds of getting world record are pretty much 0 now, considering the world record is very, very optimized. But I could show off a pretty decent no reset run, I think, at this point. So I will map buffer the thing.
Is there increased latency for a wired versus wireless Xbox 360 controller?
On this game, I am fairly certain no. I think on most games, actually, the USB, the serial bus can only accept inputs so quickly, and wireless is about the same. So I know that they tested this a lot on other Xbox games, and I kind of just like assumed that, oh, it's the same on other Xbox games. It's probably the same across the entire system, but there might be a chance that it's slightly slower on wireless. I never played on wireless, so. There we go. That's what it looks like when you map buffer the skip. Like the first time I attempted that map buffer, it wouldn't have worked. So I was able to visually confirm whether it would work or not and then try again. One of the reasons why doing no resets for this game is incredibly consistent if you use that map buffer trick, because now we're past the death skip with no issues. It does lose a little bit of time because, like I said earlier, you don't want to open the map unless you absolutely have to, because you are going to lose time on the clock rush. That's why I don't buffer the skip at all. Because you might be thinking like, yeah, if the start of the run doesn't matter, then buffering the skip shouldn't matter. But because it opens the map, it does actually end up mattering, because the amount of time you end up in the map is the amount of time you have to wait at the end of the clock rush. So it's just straight time loss at the very end here. But to make it 100% consistent, it's fine. It's why new runners, like if you're learning the game or if you don't always get the perfect clock rushes all the time. Because I remember when I first started running this game, I wasn't getting sub-8 clock rushes all the time. It didn't matter. Just buffering the skip to make it consistent just to get runs going is a more optimal strat at that point. But when you're looking for every small little time save, doing that trick unbuffered ends up being pretty consistent for me. Like I only reset there a handful of times. Oh, this boss fight didn't go well. That's fine. Do a backup. That's fine. Again, like now, like that boss fight not going well didn't matter because we are in the clock rush now. So there's no more time save or time loss until the very end. Unless I open the map or the menu. And then that's just pure time loss. Also, thank you to everybody from the Soden community that's in chat answering some questions that we haven't gotten a chance to get to. That is very kind of you guys.
Yes, I have been a very bad host today. I woke up this morning and I was like, oh my God. Today's going to be an adventure. Thank you, as always, to the chat warriors out here repping.
Yeah, I don't know what they're talking about, like the polling rate of like USB controllers. I don't know what generation USB Xbox 360 is. Probably 2.0 if I had to guess.
I'm pretty sure it's 2.
Yeah, so 2.0 definitely has like its limits versus like if this was USB 3.0, then it would definitely seem faster. Although wireless receivers right now are also have gotten buffed over the years, so I'm pretty sure even on like a Series S or a Series X, wired versus wireless is probably pretty similar.
I would agree. I mean, like, even back then, though, the wireless technology in the 360 when compared to, like, a Wavebird, for example.
Oh, yes.
Like,
literally making high-pitched frequency noises with a receiver at the end, hoping to just listen.
Like, the 360 is way better.
Yeah. Yeah, the technology of the Wavebird is very intriguing for the time, but, like, it's very funny to think about that was the solution that they went with.
It's a beautiful device.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Question here, DB, how long on average does it take to learn any percent?
It depends on how much you want to sit down and focus, I guess, to learn. There are tons of really useful resources. I would say, like, my tutorial is about 2 hours. I sat down with a good friend of mine, Deo Man, who is a world record holder for Spyro, and I taught him any percent, and we spent about 2.5 hours going over everything, and he was able to do all the tricks and get a run going. So I would say anywhere from like an hour to 3 hours, depending on how much time you want to invest in it. And oop, there we go. The controller is crapping out at the very end here, but that's fine since we're just doing a no reset. That also pauses the in-game timer, fun fact, which is another reason why having a controller disconnect issue would be normally just a reset for me if I was doing world record attempts. But yeah, if you wanted to learn any percent, speedrun.com/Soten/guides has both my any percent tutorial as well as a more beginner-friendly, I would say, tutorial that's not outdated, it's just a little bit older, so some of the strats might not be like 100% like the best thing to get started with, but they're still perfectly fine. Like you can learn the game using those strats, and that is TurboDog 702, their tutorial that came out in like 2014 or something like that. Still used to this day for a lot of people to get into the game. My tutorial that I made was a little bit more of a mid-level/advanced level tutorial to learn like individual room strategies. Whereas Turbo's tutorial is like, I've never really played this game before, but this looks interesting. I want to learn to speedrun. So depending on if you are more familiar with this game, I would recommend my tutorial. If you are less familiar with the game, I would recommend Turbo Dog's tutorial. Meal ticket, hilarious. So that's that random drop that I was talking about that has the potential to save like a lot of time, the 1 in 4,000 chance. That's
Wait,
because
are you serious?
that meal ticket is, it can't save time now. I would have had to get it earlier. But because I'm still on like the normal clock rush cycle, the reason it saves time is because you can get it to, which is a 1 in, so the drop is a 1 in 100 chance. It's a very, very rare drop. But to get it to drop the specific item you need, the meal ticket is an item that spawns a random food item. And you need one specific food item, which is the toadstool, which is a 1 in 41 chance, I think. So 41 multiplied by 100 is 4,100, and that is the chance overall to get the dang thing to drop. And you have to get it on the way to the wolf relic, and it essentially would let you skip getting the wolf relic. And on an optimal pace, you could skip like a 2-minute cycle off the clock room and save like overall over a minute. But again, it's 1 in 4,100 chance, and I've only ever seen one in my life.
Do you think there will come a day when that is necessary thing to grind?
No, no. I am very confident that nobody, even if you got the skip, you wouldn't know what to do with the toadstool because it requires its own frame perfect skip that nobody learns because it's so rare. You would have to be crazy enough to specifically grind out just to get a run with it. And frankly, it's just not fun. So a lot of runners just don't do it, myself included. It's not very fun to start a run, get 6 minutes in, not get a 1 in 4,100 drop, and then just have to be forced to reset over and over and over and over again.
Hey, on average, it'll only take, 24,000 minutes of gameplay until you get your drop, and then you can get one run through the frame perfect trick and give it a shot.
Yep. And then if you fail the frame perfect trick, you got to reset. Because you only have one toadstool. You don't have access to infinite at that point.
That's like 300 hours of the intro to Soden.
My. 300 on average? I never did the math like that, but thank you for doing the math to confirm that I should never do that.
That was mental math. Let me check again.
Nonetheless, 300 hours.
600, 400 hours, sorry.
Oh my goodness.
So on average, it'll take 400 hours to get a run to the frame perfect trick.
For reference, 400 hours of just practice in this game, you are more than ready to be like getting world records by several seconds. Like, I think I got my first world record in this game with sub 400 hours of practice. Oh man, I'm glad this is a no reset run and not world record pace, because that's what happens when the books give you bad patterns. Oh, this is what happens when the books give you horrible patterns. Let's go. You guys get to see all of the strife of trying to run Soten sometimes when things don't look like they're going well. Again, this is like a random pattern that the book happened to give me where it didn't move far enough to the left, so I couldn't dive kick off of it. And when you're in that state where you untransform from a transformation, you don't have air control, so I can't maneuver myself left or right. I just have to hope that the book basically follows itself underneath me so I can dive kick off of it. The setup to get there is to try and bait the book into the right position, but it is still pseudo-random whether or not what pattern it gives you. You basically just want to cover as many options as possible, which is the setup that I go for.
I'm interested in
Yeah, at this point, I'm just kind of going to see if I can get a gold split somewhere. That's actually what I do a lot on my streams. I usually don't do like hardcore like resets. I usually only do no resets. And my goal is to just get gold splits as many places as I can. And then once I get to the final split, it's like, I can't get a gold split here. But I'm so far into the run, I might as well finish it. So I've basically just been doing no resets for like the past month to get warmed up to try and beat the any percent record. I think it's more fun that way. Like the overall mentality that you have doing no resets, I think is a little bit better than like grinding your nose into the wall, like resetting over the smallest little time losses.
Right.
Because I know I'll get a good run eventually. It's just a matter of time. That's a split that I will not do. Sorry, guys. Look at the time tick up.
if you want to see those any percent attempts in the future, as well as more 200.6 attempts, twitch.tv/DragonBlitz, that's the place.
Also, of course, I'm nowhere near world record pace, so I get that trick first try and very quickly. Well, that's if I ended up splitting there, this would be a gold split, I think, or close to it. Because I have a split for acquiring the Bat Relic and then this section right here. I think that would have been a gold split, maybe. I don't know. Someone go back and check the tapes. I don't really care that much.
This is the grind set.
Yeah. And then now we get to show off what the bat movement looks like when all you want to do is go straight to the end of the game. It's much faster than being forced to collect every single map tile. I can just skip all that extra stuff and just go straight to where I need to go. I don't need to bother with this stinky little puzzle. I can just move forward. There's a cool little damage boost that we do here, both to gain height and to reset into a mana prism. So our mana prism gets delayed. So we have more MP going into this section. This is the hardest room in the game. Yep, there we go. Bonking there is like the standard way to fail that strategy. There's like a bunch of different backup strats you can go for if you fail the main strategy, but I should make a whole video about that one room. That one room is the most complex room. It's the room that probably has the most time comparisons between all the different runners. Oh, nice. I'll go for Breakless, because I can. Of course I get it first try. That is the hardest version of Richter Skip, and I don't do that on world record pace because it's so inconsistent. But of course I get it just messing around. That's hilarious.
This run is cursed.
Yeah, a little bit. But I'm having a good time regardless. Any percent is really chill. And the other reason why I think I have a really good mentality doing no resets of this is because like the category is so short. It's like, might as well finish the run. We're like mostly there. Once you finish the clock rush, it's like, it's only like 8.5 minutes to get to the end of the game. Might as well finish.
Might as well.
Yeah, so I get a lot of practice in the end game sections because of that, which is nice too. Yeah, this run really comes down to a lot of the major run killers like Richter Skip. Like, I made it look incredibly easy. If I went for that strategy while on world record pace, my hands would be shaking. I would not be able to finish it. Like, it would not look that clean. That's for sure. The floor clip that I also got first try. It's funny. This is actually a really good paced run outside of getting screwed over by book RNG. So that's, I feel pretty good about that. First try floor clip, first try, oops, never mind, this run's terrible. GG's. It's over. The dream is dead. Oh my god, I went for like really precise like frame perfect platforming there when you don't really need to, but you know, when you're trying to be super fast world record guy. It's one of the interesting things about this speedrun in general that a lot of people don't realize is that one of the best ways to save time is to actually just platform slightly better by like cutting your jump short, starting your jump slightly earlier after landing on the ground. That ends up saving like a lot of time over the course of the entire run. But most people see like wing smash and shield dash and they're like, ooh, I'm gonna practice that all day. Which, to be fair, practicing those things is good. But it's like the small time saves too, you know? It's a holistic speedrun where everything needs to be considered.
It's also, you know, as you approach a different skill ceiling,
Yeah,
you have to start grinding different things.
that is very true. Like, I didn't really think about my platforming in this game at all, because it's not like a difficult platformer, you know? But once you get to a certain level, you're like, oh, I do actually have to care about how many frames I spend like on a particular surface.
Yeah, or like menuing, for example, as well.
Yeah, menuing is another one. For example, the menu to purchase the duplicator, it's actually faster if you mash the D-pad to the right for every single input to sell all of those garnets that you need to sell. And that's an optimization that I implemented like almost half a decade ago at this point. Holy crap, I'm so old. When before, if you just hold the button, it goes at a particular rate, but it's faster if you were able to mash reasonably fast, and it saves like I've saved upwards of like 2 seconds by just mashing faster than the menu is able to go. Also, this is the end of the game. We got here pretty fast. Feels like it flew by.
You'll have to see it.
This won't be a sub 17, which is usually like a marker for like if you can get a sub 17 PB, you are like on the precipice of like getting a world record pretty clearly. So being slightly off from that is pretty good for a no reset.
Oh my God, he said Precipice. That's the
Turn
the
to
name of the
camera.
That's the name of the show. Roll credits.
Yeah, there's also the pun of the show flew by while I'm, in bat form flying around wing smashing. Yeah,
nice.
so Buffalo Stars is the way that we kill the boss in this run instead of using the Alucard shield. It's a little bit slower, but we don't have access to the shield rod, so it's fine. 1709. Nice, not bad.
GG. Well, gamers, claps in the chat. DB, how do you feel about it?
I feel good. I'm very happy that I got the chance to show off what it's like to speedrun this game and to do resets and stream the game in front of all these lovely people. I'm happy so many people got to see 200.6%, the ups and downs that come along with that incredibly brutal but fun category. I'm glad I got to show off any percent a little bit, and I'm glad I got to hang out with one of my favorite gamers, Ada.
No way. That's very kind. Well, I think we all agree when we say that that was an awesome showcase. And Dragon Blitz, thank you so much for being on PB Precipice. Gamers, please be sure to follow Dragon Blitz on Twitch, twitch.tv/Dragon Blitz, and also subscribe to the YouTube. It's youtube.com/Dragon Blitz. The link to
Posting
the
videos
Twitch,
every day.
and videos, literally content every day. How can you possibly not want to subscribe? You're a fool if you don't subscribe. That's my ascertainment of the situation. Anyway, gamers, thank you so much for watching PB Precipice. We will have more hotfix after this, so don't go anywhere. Some last-minute announcements here. All revenue after taxes that GDQ earns from subscriptions and bits for the month of January will still be donated to PCF. We reached 3.4 million. Let's see if we can reach that 3.5 mil. And Awesome Games Done Quick 2022 online is over, but hotfix is year-round. Go to gamesdonequick.com/hotfix for more info. And to that effect, there is more hotfix coming up right after this. We will have Frozen Flygon showing off their show, It's Dangerous to Go Alone, where there will be Ori and the Blind Forest co-op speedruns. So that's going to be really sick. Dragon Blitz, thank you again so much for being on. And gamers, stick around. It'll be a quick break, and then we'll be back with the next show. I've been Adef. Take care of yourselves.
Don't you want to go after him, Maria?
Bye, chat. Have a